Why aren't you listening to me? Doesn't anybody ever listen to me? Listen to me? Listen to me? Listen to me? Blame yourselves for this fucking word salad that I just spit all over the goddamn plate. This is all your fault. You and I like you. That's it. I work under the cover of darkness because I don't need the rest of society to look in my eyes and know that is a bad person. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Hey, folks, I just found out some really interesting information, something I did not know. I sort of knew, but I didn't know to the extent that I was going to find out as much as I just did. Here's the thing, folks. There are certain liquors that you can put in your vagina. I didn't know that they were classified by certain liquors. Apparently, any cordial, if you have a cordial, you can put that in your vagina. Any sort of schnapps, that can go right into your vagina. That's fine. You don't want to put champagne in your vagina, though. I just found that out. Because if you put champagne in your vagina, it burns. And fuck you if you say you like champagne baths, because anybody who's ever taken a champagne bath knows that your vagina gets burned by champagne. That's the conversation I just had. And I shouldn't even say conversation. I just sat here slack-jawed as all of that information was vomited all over me. Because she was telling me something about somebody, we were talking about Whitney Houston, taking a bath in olive oil, and then she said something about champagne baths, and then Lily went off. I didn't even know where champagne baths came from, but certainly she tucked it under her arm like fucking Matt Forte and just ran for daylight and sprinted into the end zone and then spiked it in my face. Holy shit, folks. She just went on and on about you can't put champagne in your vagina because you know what? It burns, and anybody who's ever been in a champagne bath or had sex, you can't have sex with champagne. There's no way to involve champagne in sex. It just doesn't work. You know, if there are plenty of liquors you want, if you want to put that in your vagina, you can have fun with that. That's the exact phrase. There's plenty of liquors you can use and put inside your vagina if you want to have fun with that. But champagne is not one of them. So I'm learning, folks. This is a learning experience. My friend, I'm learning about Lily. I'm learning about champagne. I'm certainly learning about vaginas, because I think we all know I don't drink. So I would have never found this knowledge out on my own. I'm not dumping champagne in anybody's vagina or any sort of a cordial or any sort of a liqueur. She actually said liqueurs. There's plenty of liqueurs you could put in your vagina if you wanted to have a good time. Well, I'll bet there are. Oh, man. I can't imagine, how many times has Lily banged a guy with a wet bar at his house and he just, lined up the bottles like cocktail with the spigots on them and just poured them in there and he just shook her up. Holy shit. Unbelievable. She just casually spitting it out. It wasn't even like, I know this or here's this. She's just talking like she would normally talk. We could have been it could have been in a museum. We could have been at lunch. We could have been anywhere, and it wouldn't have mattered. It would have just come vomiting out of her mouth. You know what it was? It was like she had a champagne cork in her mouth, and then I popped it, and shooting all over me was the knowledge of what liquor you can put inside your vagina. Just bubbling away and shooting all over me, and I was like, yes, that's a pretty mess. You made such a pretty mess in my head about what kind of liquors you can put in your vagina. Such a pretty mess. Oh, such a pretty. That's what Vanity would say. So now, folks, there you go. So I'm armed with that knowledge. I thought I knew a lot about the vagina. I'm not going to lie to you, folks. I had a pretty good working knowledge of what could go in it and what couldn't go in it. I knew where the parts were and what I was supposed to put where and how to, stimulate this and move that. I knew a lot about the vagina, folks, but what I did not know was its preference for beverages. And now I know. Now I know exactly what beverages that a vagina prefers. At least an alcoholic beverage. I haven't gotten into the other stuff. Like, I don't know if you can have sex with Coca-Cola or milk or chicken soup. I don't know about those things that you can put in a vagina. Chicken broth. I'll figure that out. I guess that's all part of the learning experience, folks. As I go forward in life, as I find out, and I'm starting to discourage myself from finding things that I shouldn't find. Incorrect. I have now opened my mind. I need to know what beverages go with vagina. And because now I have a full head of what beverages do not go with vagina. Champagne, certainly. But what does go with vagina? Well, it seems like it's endless. So I have that knowledge. I'm armed with that knowledge, vaginas of the world. So when I get in close proximity of you and you're thirsty, I know exactly what to fill you up with. Wow, folks, you have no idea. I mean, we were sitting here just talking, having a normal conversation about somebody and horrible things that had happened at the teas and all this, and then all of a sudden it turned into what you can put inside a vagina that works and what doesn't work. Unsolicited. It wasn't even, that's what I mean, unsolicited. It came out of fucking nowhere. Olive oil bath, so what? That didn't lend itself at all to vaginas or liquor or anything. It was like, yeah, Whitney Houston took an olive oil bath, and because she had a gravy boat. Folks, I don't know if you've seen this picture. For some reason, Whitney Houston had a gravy boat in the bathtub when she took the fucking big trip, and then they were like, well, she used to take baths in complete olive oil, and I was like, why would you need a gravy boat, like pouring it over your back? And Lily speculates, no, she was eating mashed potatoes and gravy in the bath. Lily's cutting Whitney Houston zero slack at this point. Because, as it is when people die, they start to come up afterwards they try to make it look elegant, or they try to make it like, oh, well, she was taking a treasure bath, like in History of the World Part 1. And which is a lie, by the way. If you saw that gravy boat, this was not a treasure bath. It was a shitty gravy boat bath. That's what it was. And I think we've all taken that, right? We've all taken the shitty gravy boat bath. You should never take in the shitty gravy boat bath? Champagne. Oh, my God, it burns. It burns. How about gravy? You know what? We didn't even talk about that. Does gravy go in the vagina? A nice beef gravy, a thick, nice homemade beef gravy with the pan drippings? Oh, certainly. Just pour that right into your vagina. Oh, my Christ. So take heart, vaginas. I know exactly what you need. Thought I did before, but now my knowledge has grown exponentially. So guys, when you show up at your lady's house with flowers and champagne, foolish. Take that champagne walking. Go ahead and buy a nice Clamato. That's what vaginas are looking for. They want clam juice and tomato juice mixed up. That would burn too? Clamato? Oh, I have so much to learn about vaginas and beverages, folks. Even in a throwaway joke there, Lily wasn't comfortable in letting me, because you know why? She's first and foremost, she's an educator. So she couldn't even let me throw that out as a joke, as an aside, just in case one of you were to go, Clamato, that's a good idea. Lily had to step up and go, no. Lily's like the Lorax of vaginas. I speak for the vaginas. Hold off on your Clamato. We do not want that poured in there. It will burn as well, friend. Who will speak for the vaginas? Lily, the Lilacs. She will tell you what to not put in that vagina. And, conversely, what to always put in that vagina. Maple syrup? Good. Works well in a vagina. Corona with lime? No. Burns. Corona works. Corona with lime burns. Citrus, bad for vagina. Ask the Lilacs. Honey, not a beverage, but does honey work with the vagina? Yes, it does. Honey works very well with the vagina. That one, I didn't need to go to the Lilacs for that one. I can bring you that knowledge myself. But I had limited myself to sticky surfaces and things. But apparently, there's plenty of more fun things you can dump into a vagina. Just get your lady to do a handstand and fill her up like a jigger. There you go. This is perfect. Tip her over and pour it out.
Oh my God.
You have never had a dirty martini so dirty as you have when you've poured it out of a vagina. Wow. It took me by surprise as well, folks. I was not expecting to gather this knowledge. We were having a discussion. She's wearing long sleeves, like she's dressed like a human being today. She's not flaunting it. Except for earlier when she was eating lick'em stickum powder or whatever the fuck that's called. And then she dropped me with this knowledge. Good. I'm glad. I need to know this, folks. I'm glad to know this. Because you never know. I'm 44. I'm becoming a man of some sort. And maybe I would have thought to bring champagne into it. Because again, I don't drink, but who cares? Maybe you get a lady friend who drinks. And she's like, hey, get some champagne. And then I go, hold on. I have it on good authority that we can't use this champagne. And what's funny is I would make the leap that she immediately wanted it in her vagina. The woman's just like, I just like a glass of champagne. No, it's going to burn your vagina. No, I'm going to use my mouth for that probably, because that's where beverages go. because not everybody is Lily. When you go to a restaurant, do you think of that? What do you what beverages? What do you guys have to drink? What would go well in my vagina? I need to think. Piping hot coffee. I'll pass. What's that? A Coolada? I'll take that, please. A grande iced chai? Done. Put it right in there. Shake it up. This is the VBN, the Vagina Beverage Network. So if your vagina is thirsty, folks, champagne, back burner. Oh my God, back burner. Don't heat it up. That would be even worse. Holy God. Do not heat up the champagne and dump it in there. Ask the Lilacs. Who will speak for the vagina? The Lilacs will. Write her a note. Call her. Get a hold of her. Call her like the guy who called her over the weekend to bitch at her. Lily has the Monday Night Teas, and she puts out her own phone number with the Monday Night Teas, which I don't get. I do not fucking get that at all. She needs to get a separate phone number. But I walk in, she's like, oh my God, you're not going to believe this voicemail I got. And she plays the voicemail, she holds it up, and all it says is, stay open later, bitch. People want to fucking party still. That's it. That's the email. Or the voicemail. That's what the guy said. No, stay fucking open later, bitch. People want to party still. Now, that alone would make me take my phone number down from the site. Nobody ever gets my phone number ever again. But the best part is she saved it because she's like, I got to put this online. I got to figure something out to do with it. I make it my ringtone. Who knows? And it was just, and she got the number. Okay. So she actually the next day called the guy back. And he, of course, did not answer. And she said, hi, this is, I think, the bitch. And I'm calling to tell you that the club sets the hours. I'm just the producer of the show on Mondays, so I think you have me confused with them. You'll probably want to take this up with them at some point. Click. Stay fucking open later, bitch. We want to party still. She played it for me, and I said to her, I go, you know who called you? The internet. That's who called you. Literally, that is every comment section from anything I've ever seen on the internet, and somehow it has become sentient and dialed a phone and called Lily. He didn't even have the sense to block his fucking number. What a dipshit. You know what? I should give that fucking number out on the show.
No.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, we should call that motherfucker all the time.
That's not necessary.
Come on. I don't want to see my Lilacs treated roughly. That's the Lilacs, friend. You can't call and rough her up on her goddamn voicemail. Disappointing. Oh, and even here's my favorite part of it, okay? Stay fucking open later, bitch. People want to party still. Call arrived 5:53 a.m. What the fuck? Did he show up at the club at 5? Where do you live that you think a club's going to be open at 5:53 a.m.? Because I talked to Lilacs, the Lilacs, and she's like, well, the thing is, Siri thinks that I'm a strip club. So when people ask for about strip clubs, they tell them about my show. And so these guys think it's like an after-hours club. Fuck, 6 a.m. is not an after-hours club in L.A., all right? That's a crime scene. If you show up at a fucking strip club at 5:53 a.m. and pound on the door, you're going to get shot in the face by a mobster. Because they think you're there to take the take. Or the rake. Take the rake? Or rake the take? I don't know.
Take the take.
You're doing something of that sort. So yeah, you come up pounding on a door at a strip club at 5:53 in the morning, you got business. So I picture if that guy went to that fucking club and pounded, it's the sun is coming up, motherfucker. Go home. Go home. It's not Nevada. Because the call came from Downey. I said to her, I go, was that from Compton? Because I thought I saw Compton. And she's like, no, it's from Downey, which is also, fucking Downey. Who cares?
Downey.
Give me the number.
No.
God damn it.
No, that would be bad.
You think so?
Yeah, that would be bad.
Why? 4 people would call him?
Yes, and they'd forget to block their numbers.
What? You people out there are smarter than that, aren't you?
No, they're not.
Everybody right now, block your number. Right now. I trust you to block your numbers as I'm speaking, and then I will give this number later in the show, and then you call him while you're listening. Just you've got your tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds, and you don't even need to take them out because you're not going to talk to this motherfucker. Just dial it and then just scream into the phone. Aha! Fuck! Maybe think of something better to say. Or, you know what? Let's all call him and be polite and just give him facts about vaginas and beverages. Hi, I'm calling because apparently you had some interest in what vagina beverages are possible and what aren't possible. I'm here to tell you that Grand Marnier works. All right, goodbye. Click. You know what? But we got to give him the wrong advice. Let's all call him and tell him champagne is great to put in a vagina. That's right. Let's ruin this guy's sex life forever. Although, how much of a sex life does this guy got if he's at a strip club at 5:53 in the morning pounding on the door? Stay open fucking later, bitch. What a fucking hump. God damn it. Hate people. Hate them. The internet just calling you for no reason. Don't like anybody ever at all. Hate them all. Hi, folks. How are you? I'm sort of good. I was a little late getting here today. I was in the car. I called Lily. Well, Lily, she texted me. She's like, when are you going to get here? Because I'm supposed to be here at 4 usually. But then I sometimes get here at like 4:30. And then there's a parking thing and it turns into a circus. Well, recently I've been trying to get here a little earlier. Like I would like to get here around 3:30. 3 o'clock because it's easier to park outside because the poor people that live in this neighborhood have not come home and taken root. They've not come home from their shitty jobs and stolen every parking spot. So it's like usually I can go ahead and glean one for myself. So today I got here. All right, well, let's get to me getting here. I walk out of my house. And I'm getting into my car and I see that Lily texted me. So I text her and I'm like, hey, it's going to be 15 minutes probably. She's like, okay. So I drive, and I should tell you, I have to go up a main thoroughfare. I can't tell you where I'm driving, folks, but I'm in the valley. Let's put it that way. So I'm driving on a main thoroughfare in the valley, and it seems to be almost like stop and go traffic. And I'm like, oh, what a bummer. So it's that thing where you just get in your car. And you're turning the radio on and you're checking the phone and I've got my Bluetooth in and you're just getting things, but I'm driving. Okay. And, it's that thing where you're driving, but you're just kind of getting settled into your car. And I'm driving and go through there's a stoplight and I get caught at that and I'm pissed because it's like these people this guy turned into a John's supermarket. Okay. And he was in front of me, but he turned into the John's supermarket as if his car was made of chocolate and it would fall apart if it hit a bump. And by the way, that's my go-to reference now because I keep watching this show called Challenge on the Food Network and they keep building things out of chocolate and they have to carry it. The entire show is built around them carrying it from one table to the other because any slight movement will make the chocolate sculpture fall apart. So now whenever I see anything that like this guy was moving slowly, I'm like, oh, your car's not made of chocolate. And anybody else in the world will be like, what the fuck does that mean? What do you mean your car's not made of chocolate? Of course it isn't made of chocolate. Why would a car be made of fucking chocolate? Well, yes, but I mean, he's going so slowly, it's as if he thinks his car is made of chocolate and will fall apart. Why am I having an imaginary argument with anybody in traffic? I don't know. I can't tell you. But I know if someone were to be in my car and I would say, oh, your car's not made of chocolate, they'd be, what does that even mean? And I'd have to explain to them that somehow chocolate falls apart all the time. Because that's the money shot of this fucking show. It's like literally they'll be building. And I am so zen. Again, you know me. I love cooking shows and it's all about the whisking, as our friend Seth told me. But now these challenge shows, because you know what I love about it? They have 8 hours to make like a chocolate house. And I just love the idea of, I like being told what to do for long periods of time. I know that sounds stupid. It sounds so dumb. But like I told you with Mystery Science Theater 3000, if I was on the road and I saw that was on, I felt so happy that I could put my remote down for 2 hours and relax and enjoy that show. Because I knew I had 2 hours of awesomeness that I was going to enjoy. So when these people are making a cake for 8 hours, they boil it down to an hour, by the way. Fuck that. Give me the entire 8 hours. I would watch them make chocolate shingles for their candy roof for fucking 8 hours. And the thing is, when the challenge first started, they used to have a studio audience. And you see those people are there like the whole time. They're there for 8 hours. They're actually in the room. And I can't imagine how horrible and boring it is, but I would still love every second of it. I would love to be in the room. I want to be the assistant. Like they have an assistant. And to see them that's why I should have taken the Cake Boss class. All right. In New York when I was with Seth and Brandy, because they made a cake and they actually had to cover it with fondant and do all that kind of stuff. And I'm now watching these people in these cake competitions and these chocolate competitions. And the other day, a guy was in a sandwich competition. This is hilarious. Dude. All right. They had a guy. You had 4 rounds of the sandwich competition. You had to make a cold sandwich. You had to make a hot sandwich. You had to make a panini. And then you had to make a specialty sandwich. And the funniest, the personalities are so ridiculous. They had a guy from a deli in New York, and for his cold sandwich, he made like ham on rye or something. And everybody else is making these exotic like short rib creations and this bullshit. He's like, I'm not gonna mess with the grand tradition of the deli food. So then he made like a hot sandwich. He made a Reuben, and then he made a specialty sandwich, and he made like a pastrami. And it's like, so he's making like regular deli favorites, but they're just generic regular deli favorites. But he's like, it's all about the ingredients, and it just cracked me up that this old Jewish guy's in this competition making sandwiches on a beach in Miami for a fucking studio audience. I love the idea of it. I love the fact that anybody even created that. It's stupid. It's like if you have one guy alone in a kitchen talking into a computer and then other people are going to listen to it. It makes no sense, and in entertainment value, it contains none. It should contain none. There should be nothing entertaining about a guy in a kitchen talking by himself into a microphone and then spitting it out to the masses out there. But for some reason, some of you are on board. Good. I'm glad to hear it. But I feel the same way about watching people make sandwiches. I used to do a joke about it on stage, for fuck's sake. And I think I've told it on here. God damn it. But I can't stop watching it. I can't. I tape challenge every goddamn day. It's on at 9 a.m. and I get up and I don't get up. That's bullshit. I stay up and watch it in the morning before I go to bed so then I can dream of them making chocolate houses. Idiot. How did I get onto that? How did I get onto chocolate houses? Oh, yeah. His car was going to fall apart like a chocolate car. God damn it. Because they did that. They had to make perpetual motion machines with chocolate. And this guy made a boat and it looked like it was moving. And then a guy made a bicycle on a line that was made out of chocolate. And there's this dude who invented a different kind of way to make chocolate. And here's the thing. They make these things and they're like, oh, it should be made completely edible and it's out of food. Who the fuck's going to eat a chocolate bike? Like, because they put all this weird paint and then their hands are in it. It doesn't look ever like sanitary that I would eat it. It's something to look at, but that's part of the rules is that it has to be eligible to eat. Like they have these cake contests and they had to make SpongeBob cakes for a little kid. And they're like, oh, and we'll serve your cake at the party. And then it took them 8 hours to make this cake and they're like sawing it with these huge knives and they're cutting it and molding it. I'm like, that can't be a moist cake. That can't taste delicious. If you make a cake that looks like SpongeBob, it should stay looking like SpongeBob until you throw it away. You can't cut into SpongeBob and eat him. Eat a normal sheet cake, but have that be a fucking display. It's like if you were to make that big ice sculpture of the cherub pissing, and then you were to go chisel off the penis and eat it. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, fuck that. I don't know why that. First of all, I don't know why that's your go-to move. Quite frankly, there's wings, there's arms, there's legs, there's cherub feet. Cherub feet are delicious. I think we all know that. You can chip off his little cherub face and suck that in your fucking dirty martini. You pour it right out of a vagina all over the ice. Done. But Jesus Christ, the fact that you would chisel off the penis and eat it, who am I? What am I, John Gacy? Like, ridiculous. I have just ruined that party. I have just absolutely ruined any party that has the pissing cherub ice sculpture because I walked in and I chipped off the penis and ate it. What the fuck is wrong with me? That's got to be a sign. Like when you're a kid and you torture pets, they're like, that guy's going to be a killer someday. Like Jeffrey Dahmer had to walk into a wedding when he was 9 and chip off the penis off a cherub statue and eat it, right? And then everybody went, holy shit, keep an eye on Jeff. Oh my God! We might want to keep an eye on Jeff. Holy shit! Oh, did you see that move? No, I didn't. He just walked right up to the cherub statue, pulled out a fork, and just chopped off the penis and ate it. Whoa! That doesn't bode well for Jeff's future, I would imagine. Probably want to keep that off any apartment lease that you fill out in the future. What can you tell us about yourselves, Jeff? Well, when I was 9, I ate the penis off of a cherub ice statue. Well, we've got plenty of applicants to talk to today, Jeff. Finally, he went to Milwaukee. He left it off one application. Boom, gets an apartment. Look what happens.
Oh, man.
So, how did I even get into the cherub ice statue sculpture?
Eating chocolate things.
Oh, the eating chocolate. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't get it. Don't eat that. Don't do that. Just stare at it. I watched the other day, this guy made like a chocolate Roman Colosseum. And then they have these prissy judges who walk around and judge. I love it. I love it. God damn, I love it. I can't stop watching it. So this guy in his chocolate car is in front of me. And he goes to turn into John's and he slowed me down because I was trying to cut around him. Oh, fuck. I am so tired of people who declare themselves the police of the road. Like, it happened the other day. I tried to pass on the right-hand side because there's 2 lanes. And the right-hand lane is a turn lane, but it's also a merge lane. So I went to pull up, and a guy pulled in front of me. Like, he just half and halved the lane so nobody could go up. And I was turning this particular time, and I've got my signal, and I'm like, dude, what the... And I just laid on the horn, which I never do. I don't even know if my horn works. I use it once a year, but I just fucking laid on it, and he wouldn't move. Like, it was that thing where, again... You're at a standoff. You know who's driving that car? The internet. That's who's driving that fucking car. Just an obstinate dick who's going to do whatever the fuck he wants and thinks that he runs the goddamn road and thinks that he can pull off. Because I wanted to get out and fight. I literally wanted to get out and fight and just go, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get out of the fucking road. But I try, then because I don't road rage a lot. All right. And the last time it happened was a couple years ago when I punched a car a few times. That happened. by year 3. I think it's in year 3. But since then, I've kind of stayed within myself a lot. And I never really was a road rage guy like, fuck, come on, and punching anything. I'm not mad. If I'm in the car, I know what's happening. I got my music and that's fine. But when people do stupid shit like that, to me, it's just so... I feel like Lecter when he's pissed off that Migs threw cum in Jodie Foster's hair, and he's like, discourteousness is appalling to me, and he's so furious, and then eventually he makes Migs choke on his own tongue in the middle of the night because he's mean to him, which is what I want to do to everybody in a goddamn car who pulls that stupid shit. I just want to take their license plate number down, and then somehow maybe they have a website like our friend the Lilacs and has their phone number attached to it, and then I can call them and I can talk to them mean in the middle of the night, and then they'll swallow their own tongue and kill themselves, and they won't bother me on the fucking road anymore, and their Jeep will go undriven for the rest of the fucking days. I don't like anybody. All right, so, which by the way is another conversation that I should not be having ever, because folks, don't get me started on that kind of thing. There's a guy. I work. I have a job where I'm a security guy. I think we know that in Graveyardville. I always feel like I have to re-explain myself for new people, even though I don't. Because the people who've been here, it's like I said, it's more of a book than a movie. You've been reading it from the beginning, so why should I fucking go back and tell you it was in chapter 2? Buy it. So when new people hop on board and they'll write me, they'll be like, what does that even mean? Well, there's a history. You can go look up. There's a tableau. There needs to be a Wikipedia page about me where just every horrible... I would do it myself, but literally I would start filling out the thing, and then in the middle of it, I'd get to like beverage vaginas and chocolate cars, and it would never be done. It would just be this endless... like I said, we need Mikepedia. You know what I mean? Just to have, because then it would be all about Mike, and there would be different entries for all the different things that I've done and said. Do that, folks. Awful. No one's doing that. Why should they? Look at you making a face. What? Are you going to do it?
Well, I'm thinking I could set the website up and then people could put entries in under every show.
Nobody's going to do it. No, don't do that, because it'll be woefully embarrassing how little the people do it. Because early on in the first couple of years, there were people who were going to take notes about every reference that I made in every show, and then they just gave up. They were just like, because their computers just like, it was like the old days. You ever see when, like in a cartoon, when a clock just like spits out its tongue and keels over? These people try to do that with their laptop. They're like trying to do all these notes and all these sub-references and all these different references, and then their laptop just shut itself down. And then they wrote me and they're like, we're really sorry. And I'm like, don't be sorry. I don't even know why you attempted to undertake this. It's ridiculous. You have a life, for God's sakes. I mean, even in this show, I don't even know where we're at now, but if you had to double back all the different references and stupid shit that we had, Jesus Christ, this show's a Wikipedia entry on its own. The history in this show, I'm just the Lilacs. The Lilacs alone try to explain that to people.
First appeared.
Who speaks for the vaginas? All right. So chocolate car.
Chocolate car or the guy at work. You got two going right now.
Guy at work. He fucking he's a nice kid. I'm sure he's a nice kid. And by the way, he's 29. But to me that's a kid. Honestly, to me that's a kid. Anybody, because I know people that are 29, and I just feel, because again, I'm 15 years older than that person, and they're still in the prime of their life. They're making things happen. I know someone who's 29 and buying a house, and but to me, I'm just like, oh, good for you. You want to chuck them on the chin, tousle their hair, go play. But they're more of a grown up than I've ever been in my entire fucking life. But yeah, so this guy comes down, and he's all right. Like I think I've mentioned him before. He gets in late from his job. And then he'll say hi, and I say hello, but then he'll come back downstairs and he's drinking. Like he gets a heat on, and then he wanders the halls of the goddamn building. It's like, dude, I don't have to keep a drunk ghost in line. You know what I mean? I don't have my fucking proton pack. All right, you and Slimer, go back to your apartment and fucking drink in peace. I know you had an uncle who thought he was Saint Jerome, but that does nothing for me. Although I'd call that a big yes. So this fucking guy, he wanders the halls drunk, and he'll at least he's all right. He'll come home drunk, and then he'll sit in his car, in the garage with the car running and the radio on. And I hate that, because it's just like, dude, go to don't be down here. I don't want anybody down where I am, because I mean that's something for me to worry about, something for me to think about. Because what if he's killing himself? What if he's inhaling fucking carbon monoxide, and then I got to clean it up? Am I supposed to stop him? What the fuck am I supposed to do? But inevitably, he'll sit out there for like 20 minutes, and then he'll turn the music off, but the car will still be running. Then he'll turn the car off, and then he's that slow drunk, you know what I mean, where you just hear the door open, and then it's like open for like 4 minutes, and then it gently And then he just kind of wanders in, and it's like you practically expect him to come in and goes, "How dry I am." I mean, he's like that. He's like 50s drunk, you know what I mean? Disheveled collar and like, you know, his one shirt tail untucked. How dry? Oh, awful. And he's only 29. What the fuck are you getting 50s drunk for, dude? Take your fedora off and tell fucking Don Draper you're going home. So, yes, I know Don Draper's the 60s. Shut the fuck up. Everybody's furious at home right now. Don Draper's Mad Men's from the 60s, not the 50s. He's not 50s drunk. Whatever. So he's so fucking loaded, and he just wanders out of his car, and then he's like, "Hey, Mike," and I'm like, "Hey, hi," and I try to be as nice as I possibly can, but then he'll meander over to the elevator and he'll go upstairs, and then he'll take the elevator back down to 2, and I'll actually hear him get out on 2 and walk. I can hear him walking, and then he'll walk down the stairs and go to his car. Like it's that shit you do when you're drunk. He gets drunk and he turns into fucking Billy from Family Circus. Like it's just there's a dotted line all over the goddamn apartment complex. It's like into the elevator and then stops at 2, and then he goes up to 3, and then he gets out at 3, and then he walks down the stairs to 2, and he takes the elevator down from 2, and then there's a dotted line, and it's like, oh, hey, who's wandering the hallways drunk? Not me. So he comes back down. And he always does this too. Sometimes he'll drive, like he'll get in his car drunk to drive, and I'm just like, what are you doing? And also he parks, he's in a tandem spot with somebody. So sometimes he'll come in and he'll bring his car in, and then he has to back their car out and then pull his car in ahead of it and then pull their car in, and then he'll take their car out when he goes out. I don't question anybody in their life. Do whatever the fuck you're going to do. But when it interferes with me and I got to wonder what the fuck you're doing as you're out there playing hopscotch with 2 goddamn cars, I got to poke my head out, and then he'll just wave. And then he'll just, hiccup. You know what I mean? Just like, how dry I am. Awful. So, and then part of me's like, is that why he's moving the cars around? Because he's drunk? Like, he's so drunk, he's decided he needs to park in different spaces? Oh, I don't get it. So he'll wander the halls and he'll be drunk, and then he'll come downstairs. Like, this is the weirdest thing ever. He'll come in and he's wearing like normal clothes because he works at a job, and he's he's out late, and he's got a button shirt on, and he looks disheveled, but still he's wearing professional clothing. And then he'll go upstairs, and then 20 minutes later he'll come back downstairs walking or through the elevator, and he walks out and he's dressed like Sid Vicious. Like fucking sleeveless, like he's kind of skinny, and he's got a sleeveless striped shirt on and like those like black skinny pants kind of. And it's like 3 a.m. What the fuck? I don't, maybe Nancy Spongeon's out there waiting for you to kill her, but I mean, he's out there, he's looking for his Nancy Spongeon. Maybe that's what it is, but at 3 a.m. Actually, you know what it is? He goes out at 3 a.m. and he goes and he has some food and he kills some time. And then at 5:55, he heads to the strip club and pounds on the door. Stay fucking open late, bitch. People want to party still. How dry I am. So he's out. So he'll sometimes take his car out drunk, dressed like Sid Vicious, but sometimes he gets a cab, like at 3 a.m. and he'll come down and he'll talk to me, and he'll want to talk. And he's trying to be an actor. All right. And so, which is fine. Aren't we all? And he's a good guy. I mean, he seems like a good guy, I guess. I don't know. I see him but I'm only saying this just in case he stumbles into the show. Really, I'm only like, literally, I'm like, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Are you listening? I hope you're not listening. I don't know. So he'll come down and he'll want to talk to me, and he'll be like, yeah, man, saw Halle Berry tonight. And I'm like, okay. And like, she came into wherever he works and he saw her. But he acts like he had a big and he will actually go and talk to her about acting. Like, he will go and have a discussion with her about, hey, I saw the choices you made in an acting role. I'm like, oh no, dude, they don't want you to do that. They don't want to talk to you ever. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but he, and I found out, so this is leading up to last night. I've gotten bits and pieces and snippets of him. Like he got work as a stand-in on some show, and he was like, yeah, man, I was on the set and I got to talk to Josh Brolin, and Josh, and we started talking about acting, and I started talking to him, and he was like, hey, I really admired what you're doing, and you're doing a good job. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm going, they can't wait to run away from you. You know that, right? They cannot wait to leave you. I mean, maybe Josh Brolin, the funny thing is, Josh Brolin, does that seem like the guy who would ever have casual conversation with a normal human being? He seems like a cock, Josh Brolin. He seems like the guy who would never want to talk to a real human being. But he's saying that he was a stand-in and he worked with Josh Brolin, and he's talking to him on the set, and they're talking acting and they're going back and forth. And he's like, yeah, I told him I got out of school and I'm taking more classes, and I just told him about a scene that I did, and he was real encouraging. And I'm just like, oh my God, I don't. And again, maybe it's true. Maybe he's so genial when he's not fucking drunk in the lobby of my apartment building that people do want to speak to him and they want to get along with him, and that's fine. Because again, I talk to him and he seems like a decent guy, but I mean, I just know from my headspace, don't ever talk to actors, or ever, if you say hello to them or whatever, if you tell them you like their work, and then run immediately. As Ice Cube says, men be a man, shake my hand and make it a firm shake. Say, what's up, Ice Cube, and then break. That's it. Take off. Don't fucking hang out and ask Ice Cube about rapping. He doesn't want to talk to you about rapping or acting. Certainly don't talk to Ice Cube about acting. You'd actually have a lot more in common with him now if you talked to him about acting than you do rapping. But this guy, so he's talking to, like, he meets and he sees these celebrities at his work, and he's genuinely excited that these celebrities are there. And I'm not jaded, but at the same time, I look at it where, like, yeah, but they're not hanging out with you. You're working for them in a capacity. Like, I don't know why you're excited to see them. They're just people because they don't look at you in that way. I don't know. And again, it's my weird head. All right. Because like, I won't go to the Improv because I don't want to deal with comedians that are more successful than me. Because I'm in my head the whole time. I'm like, I can do what they do. And to wind up talking to them. And then when they see somebody more famous than you and they trade up out of your conversation and they leave you just kind of standing there, and it drives me crazy. And that's my head. All right. That's just, I don't like the politics. I don't like the game of it. And that's why I'm sitting in a stripper's kitchen talking to you now. Because anybody who could have helped me in any way, shape, or form, I went ahead and decided, you know what? This is too weird, and I don't want to impose on them, and I need to fucking bail. Which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous way to be, but that's who I am. So when he tells me these stories, I get my flesh crawls as I think of Halle Berry on the other end of it, as he's, talking to her as whatever he's doing at his work. And she's just nodding politely as he tells her about Monsters Ball and what he thought she should have done. You know what I mean? Just... Jesus Christ. So, so he tells me those things a lot of the time, and then he'll go out. I think I said he'll call a cab and he'll go out at 3 a.m. because he'll go eat somewhere. And he'll always say to me, "Hey, do you want food?" He's very nice. Again, he offers. He's very nice. But which is of course why I'm now slagging the shit out of him. But I'm not slagging him. But it's just, the point is, I tolerate him. He'll come and talk to me, and I just nod, and I listen, and I just go, "Oh, that's great. That's so great." And he'll go, "Yeah, man, I'm so excited. I got a thing in the morning. I had an audition." And he'll go, "Hey, I was out at a bar last night. I met a casting director, and she was so great, and she introduced me to her friend, and I got an audition out of it. They're going to bring me in for their movie, and I think I've got a shot at this movie, and I'm so excited." And I'm like, dude, if you met a casting director in a bar, and they're bringing you in for an audition for a movie, that's like some short. That's like... And again, it's only the difference between 29 and 44. You know what I mean? Like, maybe if I was 29 with him, it would be like Swingers. You know what I mean? We'd be Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau, and we'd be out wearing fedoras, and we wouldn't call Heather Graham, and then we would fucking talk about acting, and we'd play fucking Sega together, and I'd be Ronik, and everything would be fantastic. And then I'd give my breakfast to a guy because I couldn't touch it, and I'd say, "Daddy's little baby is all grossed up." But at 44, I've lived it. I mean, and I haven't really. I'm not that guy. I'm not a jaded asshole, but at the same time, I am a jaded asshole because I've lived those things and I've seen those things happen, and I've had chances that have withered away and died, and I've seen things go away, and I'm not out of hope. But at the same time, I recognize that those really flimsy things that he's so excited about are not anything to be excited about. And that's a shame. That's a shame. And I don't want to be the soul sucker who takes that out of him. You know what I mean? So that's why I nod. And I go, "That's awesome." I always go, "That's great. That's so cool." Because you know what? Eventually, he'll wind up washed up on the rocks of show business. And then he'll be over here at the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network with his own show for some reason, just talking about drunken hallway navigation. I don't know what the fuck the show will be about. I don't have a flavor for who he is yet, except for a guy who's really happy and thinks he's going to make it. And again, he's a nice kid, 29. So he comes in last night again, and I was leaning backwards with my eyes closed. I had my head against the wall, but I heard him walk in. And he turned the corner because he thought I was asleep, I guess, which I don't sleep at the job. But the other guy who works there does. I think I've told you guys that the other guy who works there actually laid under the desk a couple of times, like just like to sleep. Like he literally goes to sleep. He curls up in a ball and sleeps at the job. And the guy who owns the building is like, ha ha, Tony. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to fucking wake him up. That's what you're going to do. You're going to not pay him, motherfucker. That's what you're going to do. But the guy's worked there fucking 6 years and he's great, and he's well entrenched and nothing bad has ever happened on his watch. So but I can't sleep. I can't, although I will tell you this, I'll share this with you because I've been, my sleep schedule's all fucked up, like bad. Like I'm sleeping 2 hours at a time and then waking up for 8 hours and then actually falling asleep for an hour. I don't know why. I got it back in line and then all of a sudden it went screwy again. You know why it went screwy? Because Karen was out of town last week, so I would just stay up. I was like, I got stuff to do. I'm busy, so I would stay up until like 9 at night, and then I would sleep until 3 in the morning, and then I would get up at 3 and then stay up again until 9 at night. And it was just this weird thing. So then when I was going to get my schedule together, it was Saturday when I went to pick her up from the airport. So again, I woke up at 3 in the morning and I stayed up. And I was going to pick her up and then I was going to go to bed at 4 in the afternoon and sleep until I had to work that night. But her flight was delayed like 3 times. So I didn't pick her up at the airport until like 6. And then I had to stay up because I had to go to work. And so now I'm just groggy. I'm a fucking walking dead. So the other day I was so out of it at work. I was doing like jumping jacks and slapping myself in the face and pouring water on my head. I mean, it was bad. So I finally, in my head, I went, you know what? I have to sleep. I have to sleep. This is not, because even when I sat down, within 5 minutes, my eyes were closing. It was like I had no control over my body. So I was like, I got to sleep. I go, but I can't, I'm not going to sleep in the office. That's retarded. I said, I should go home and just sleep for, a half hour or whatever. Because I do get to leave. Like I'll get a hamburger or something. I can leave in the middle of the night because nothing's going on. And I should not say that because every criminal listening now is like, what? They know when to come in now at the right time. Oh my God, he's gone. Let's go ahead and break in. Because I don't know if you know this, folks, I have a huge criminal following. And all of them listen just so they can possibly get into the building and steal a Corolla. That's it. That's the only reason they do it. They don't even care about the show because my numbers have spiked. Because once I did the mental pod, a lot of prisoners listened to that. And then they got the word out amongst their prisoner gangs. And everybody's like, oh my God, this poor guy, we're going to be seeing him in jail soon, or we will use his weaknesses to exploit him and steal something from his building. So they're just waiting. Right now they're gathered around there's one iPod they use in prison. I don't know if you know that. That's how it works. Each cell block gets its own iPod, and boy, do I feel bad for the people who choose me. That is... Because there's a bunch of dudes on there who are like, hey, let's listen to hip hop. And then there's some dudes who are like, hey, let's listen to metal. And then there's some dudes who are like, hey, let's listen to the 40-year-old boy. And he finally had to convince them after they raped him 100 times. They had to convince them, no, wait, we could use this and we could possibly steal some things from a building because he sleeps sometimes. Even though I've never slept up to this point. I don't know what this guy was doing. I guess his perception was that I would eventually sleep because he knew that my schedule was going to be screwed up. And he's been listening for so long. Look, I can't get into the mind of a prisoner. I have no idea how they think. All I know is they make mistakes. They make a lot of mistakes. That's why they wind up behind bars. And then they make even more mistakes because they try to convince all of the white supremacists and the Muslim gangs to listen to my podcast on the one iPod in the cell block. Which is a huge mistake because, again, you get raped 100 times and you rarely get to listen to the show. But now he's convinced them all that somehow they can exploit me in some way and listen to me and find a flaw and then find out a way to knock over this building. It's like Ocean's Cell Block H. It's like Ocean's 414. That's what there's 414 dudes in the cell block, and eventually they'll all show up at my building, and that's going to be bad. And I got news for you. Whoever you are, the one guy who actually decided that you should listen to me, I'm going to just let them rape you. Because otherwise they would want to rape me. Like they would show up in the building and I'd go, dudes, have at it. But make sure you rape that guy. That's my negotiation. So you, the guy because you're sticking for me and I appreciate it. You're sticking for me there in the jail, at cock point. You're still standing up for your belief in me and my show, and I appreciate that. Even at cock point, you're doing it. However, I just know that I will throw you overboard immediately if it means I don't get raped. And it's another reason why I don't sleep in the building, because eventually I will get raped. I just know that will happen. You say it's not true, but you don't know that. You can't say that with any certainty. If I was a lady, I would never sleep anywhere because I would just think that at some point I was going to get raped anywhere. My home, a hotel. Eventually, I was going to wake up with a stranger inside me, and that can't happen. I refuse. I don't know why you have to be a lady for me to think that. As a guy, I guess I could wind up with a stranger inside me as well. But I think if I were a lady, I would feel a lot more vulnerable to that, probably. Because somehow I'd wind up on rape detail. I would always think that I was going to be on rape detail. Which, by the way, hold on a second. Wait, rape detail? That makes it sound like it's part of the morning chores. That doesn't make any sense at all. All right, you're on KP. You're going to be peeling potatoes. I want to see this place spotless. You grab some toothbrushes and you clean that latrine. And you lay down. You are on rape detail. Be back at 5 when the whistle blows.
Oh, man.
That is an awful job. I think my job's bad. That is a terrible job. Rarely do you meet Halle Berry when you're on rape detail. All right. However, conversely, you always meet Josh Brolin when you're on rape detail. That man shows up. He gets the job done. Lights, camera, action, all hail the one who gets the job done. It's the Big Daddy Brolin. The JOSH is on the JOB and expert because he gets a DONE. So lights, camera, action, all hail the one who gets the job done. Big Daddy Josh Brolin. Now what's a title that fits me? A champ like Tyson, a captain like Kirk. No, employee of the month because, I do work. The KANE is on the JOB and expert because I get a DONE. So lights, camera, action, all hail the one who gets the job done. Fucking Big Daddy Kane is in the house. All right. That's right. I think I've done that before, but I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I will. If Big Daddy Kane shows up in every single episode, then you should consider yourselves blessed. Blessed by the appearance of the chocolate lover. 6'1", dark and lovely. All right. So, Big Daddy Kane also on Rape Detail.
Yeah.
But the ladies are okay with it then. They're actually signing up for Rape Detail at that point. Because again, he's employee of the month. All right. So what the hell? Like literally my head went chocolate car. I swear to God, my head went chocolate car.
The trunk that goes out for food.
Okay. Well, how did I leave him?
Rape detail in prison.
Yeah, I know. Like, why? Oh, because the prisoners were coming. I don't know. Dude, I don't know. I'm lost. I'm really lost. Dude, I was so tired. All right. So yeah, so I'm like, I should go home and go to sleep. And I'm like, but I go, you know what, dude, that's actually pretty dangerous. Like if you go home and go to sleep, you what if you don't wake up? And again, what if I get raped in the middle of the night? As we all know, that could possibly happen. So what I did was I go, well, I can't sleep in the office, and I'm certainly not going to sleep at home. I go, you know what? Just go to your car, and like grab a quick like cat nap in your car. And again, mind you, I'm in a fog. Like I'm still hitting myself in the face trying to stay awake, and I'm like, I got to do something. So I meandered out to my car. But here's the thing. I don't want to sleep in my car because I think that's worse than sleeping in the office. Because I think if someone came by the office and saw me sleeping in there, they'd be like, well, at least he's kind of on duty. Like then you're like an old time sheriff. You know what I mean? Then you're just catching a cat nap in between bad guys. You know what I mean? You're still catching something. All right. And you're in the office, so you're still on duty. So a hard knock will wake you up and get you on the case, and you just stop all this, the Ocean's 414 who are flowing in to steal and rampage the building. But if I sleep in the car, then it looks like I'm dead. Then it looks like, because you know what, then you all right, you fall asleep in the office, it may have been an accident. You go out to your car and you grab a nap. Everybody knows you went out to your car to get a nap. I mean, there's no getting around it. You're just you're a deadbeat who's asleep. But in my head, I'm like, well, fuck, I don't want to be seen. So then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can lay in the back of my car, like in the SUV, because it's an SUV and it's got the big hatch in the back. So I'm like, maybe I can curl up back there and just sleep. So I opened up the hatchback and I climbed in. And I should say I have like 8 cases of Propel in my car. So I had to actually take them out of my car and then put them in my back seat, then climb into the SUV and close the big door. So I felt like Donald Pleasance in Escape from New York when he's getting closed into the presidential pod and he's being dropped out of Air Force One before it crashes into the fucking building. I closed myself into my sleep pod, and I actually looked up and I said, "May God watch over and keep you all." And I slammed the door. And I'm just back there with my jumper cables and my again, I have the most ridiculous things in the back of my car, but I love having them there because it makes me look like I'm an athlete guy. I have a baseball bat. I have my spikes, my like football cleats. I have my shin guards, my boxing gloves, and my hand wraps for Muay Thai. And then I have my jumper cables. Because that's where all of my masculinity is kept, in the back of my car. Because you see me regularly during the day, I'm just like a fucking Nancy boy. You're just like, oh my God, that guy's a sissy. And I'm like, maybe, I might be part lady, but go look in the back of my car, motherfucker. I got a bat and cables and some gloves. Some of those poofy gloves that you put on your hands when you're going to punch a guy. You know those. And then I've got these hand wraps that you use to, wrap around your neck to strangle yourself while you're jerking off. You know those. That's how manly I am, damn it. If I don't have my autoerotic asphyxiation earbuds from tweakedaudio.com/40, I go ahead and just use my hand wraps from Muay Thai and choke myself out. I'm just in the back of my car like Keith Carradine. Just tie it on the fucking headrest and jerk off till I fall asleep. By the way, you do not want anybody to stumble upon you when you're doing that. In the presidential escape pod in the back of your Murano, Propel in the front seat and you in the back jerking off with your hand wraps wrapped around your neck. Oh, that's not a good look. Especially when the 414 prisoners from jail find you. But except they actually will open it and see you and they'll just go, yeah, that's what we would be doing if we had the chance. If we weren't here raping this building, we would be jerking off and choking ourselves. Because in jail, you got to figure out a good way to jerk off, right? Yeah, that's what I would be doing. I would just constantly be inventing different ways to masturbate in jail. All right. Oh, my God. Probably, well, maybe not. I mean, it's because you got a guy in there, which that would be new for me. I won't lie to you. That would be definitely new for me. I never jerked off with another guy in the room. Well, actually, that's a lie. One time, you know what? Oh, good. This is awful. All right, this is going to sound horrifically bad. I apologize. When I was a kid, I jerked off in my car with my family. We were all jammed in the car coming home from my aunt's house, and I was just bored, and I got a fucking road hard on, and I was like, well, I'm 13 or 12 or whatever I was. I'm like, let's take care of this. And I mean, obviously very surreptitiously, I didn't just whip it out and go, hey, everybody, check this out. But yeah, I did. It kept me from getting car sick. I won't lie to you because I knew I was going to get car sick because I would get car sick because my mom smoked in this Pinto and we were all jammed in this car. And I just said, you know what? I've got to take my mind off this somehow because my mom wouldn't let me open the window. And so, I jerked off to keep my mind off of getting car sick. And it worked. Certainly not the first time or the last time I jerked off in a car, but that's a story for another time. Wait till that comes out. Oh, that's on my greatest hits album. Stroking on the Road with Mike Schmidt. All right. So, although I didn't choke myself then, I will tell you I was not that advanced in the and I think people would have noticed. I got to be honest. My brother's sitting right next to me. If he sees me choking myself, he's going to have a question. Plus there was no room for me to get my belt off in the car. All right, so we're all jammed in a Pinto. It's me and five boys and my mom. All right, so that's awful. All right, so I'm in the Murano. I close the door and I'm trying to sleep, and I put my feet up on and I realize the second I close the pod bay door, Hal, that I'm not going to get some sleep because it's so uncomfortable. My feet are up because literally now if anybody comes by, they're going to see my feet up over the back seat. And again, I should tell you this. It's like 3 a.m. Nobody is coming in. Nobody's going to see me. And even if they do, nobody's going to look that hard into my car and see my feet dangling over the seat. But it doesn't matter because in my head, I just figured that at some point, the second I get in there, people are going to come downstairs looking for me. And then they're going to come out to my car and go, well, his car's still here. Oh my God, his feet. Oh my God, he's dead. And then they're going to jam open the fucking pod bay doors. And then I'm just laying there with my fucking hand wraps around my neck. And they're going to be like, oh, of course, he's jerking off. I mean, seriously. That's a chance I'm not willing to take. So I'm laying there and I try to get comfortable just for like seconds. Like, I mean, it took maybe 60 seconds, no, it probably took more, probably like a minute. So I'm in the back and finally I just go, I can't do this. I can't do this. So it's dark and it's in a parking garage and I'm in the back of the car and I go to open the pod bay door, but I don't know how to open it from the inside because I've never been in the back of the pod bay door. I don't know how it works. So I have to climb over. I have to get my fat ass up and then climb over. There's like a barricade thing. How do I put it? It's I don't even know. It's one of those extras that came with the Murano that I don't even get. I guess men know what to do with it, but I'm not a man. I got no fucking idea. It goes into a slot and then you pull it down and it's like a big, you know those window shades you put in your windshield? It's a bigger one that covers the entire back of your car. So I guess people can't see your Muay Thai gloves and steal them. I have no idea. Because these people know that out there are criminals out there listening to podcasts waiting for you to have a chink in your armor so they can steal it. That's right. All of these prisoners are just waiting to get their hands on your armor. They can't wait. Haven't you seen modern prisons? They all have a suit of armor there on each cell block. It's because they don them and then they have all sorts of like race wars wearing these the fucking armor. It's great. Didn't you ever see Ricochet? Actually, they didn't use armor. John Lithgow fought Jesse the Body Ventura and they dressed up in phone books.
Yes.
Yeah. They actually had jousting and they had a big fight. Jesse the Body Ventura against John Lithgow, and they had phone books all over themselves. And then they had and then he gassed Ventura. Spoiler alert. All right. So I'm in the back of the pod bay door and I can't open it. And now I'm not in my right mind. All right. Obviously, because I tried to sleep in the back of my fucking car. So I started to feel kind of enclosed. Like I started to panic because I'm a giant fat guy. All right. And like I said, I figure I'm going to scramble over the seat. But then instead I just kind of started feeling around for the latch on the door. And then I started pushing the door. Like I panicked because I was caught in this small space because I don't like being smushed. Does that make sense? When I was a kid, we would, you'd play that thing where it's like kill the man with the ball or dog pile or whatever. And at the bottom of it, I would start to get that weird feeling of I'm going to hurt everybody if they don't get off me like right fucking now. It's the same feeling I get when I'm at the mall. I'm on like the second floor and I want to throw myself over the balcony and I just want to fall to the floor. I don't know what it is, but I have it. Basically, I constantly want to hurt myself and others. That's what it is. If I'm in a confined space or in a wide open space, but high up in the air, someone's getting hurt. Usually me, but you might come along for the ride if you're there. Whoever I land on's getting fucked up. So I start panicking a little bit because I'm in this enclosed space and it's dark and I'm kind of like, and I'm in an unnatural position. So I'm on my back and my feet are up. Again, so it's kind of like getting in jail and getting raped. Pretty much, it's dark. I'm on my back and my feet are in the air and I am uncomfortable. So I'm pushing on the door and then I like push up and I throw my body. I get like kind of to my knees and I throw my body into it to try to just like push it open and unlatch it. And so now, you know who I am? I'm Anthony Michael Hall in 16 Candles when he's trapped in the coffee table and they sweep the pretzels off and he just goes, Jake! That's basically who I am because I'm trapped and my face is pressed up against my own back window in my car because in my head I can't process the fact that I got to jump over the seat because the headrests are up there. And also, these seats go down. Like if I reached around, I could probably grab a peg and flatten it out and climb over, but then those cases of propeller there, so I'm not looking forward to that. So I start to go, fuck this, I got to just jump the seat. So I scramble and I start to climb over the seat. And again, the cases are propeller there. So I knock them onto the floor. So like they're all over the ground, like 4 of them. And then there's 4 on the seat. And I'm like, well, fuck, if I land on them, it's going to hurt. But I don't give a fuck. I just got to get the fuck out of this car now. I'm panicking. And the good news is I'm staying awake. I'm certainly awake at this point. The adrenaline is surging. So I'm hopping over and I get like one leg over, but then the rest of me is over and I'm caught in that shield in the back and I can't do it. And my keys, somehow they fall out of my pocket because I had them in my front, like shirt pocket. And as I'm doing it, they fall onto the back seat and I see them and I'm like, oh fuck, now my keys are gone. And as I look down, I can see my keys because there's like a fluorescent light and it's kind of flickering. So it's almost like a horror movie. There's like this flickering light. I'm in kind of this darkness in my car and I can see it barely catching the light, my keys, and they're sitting there and there's propeller all over the ground, propelling the seat, and I'm half and half, and I can't get out, and I'm fucking trapped, and I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. And it's so funny. I was worried about laying in the back and somebody stumbling along and seeing my feet over. How the fuck are they gonna feel now when they see my head and my arm and one leg like half over the back seat? I look like I'm in a fucking trash compactor. It's me, fucking Luke, Leia, and Han, and we're about to get fucking smashed in the fucking Death Star. Get me out of this motherfucking car. So I'm leaning, I'm looking, there's propel, the light is flickering, I see my keys, and as the light catches my keys, I see my keys, but then I also look, you know what's on my keys, folks? Guess what's on my keys? Guess what is on my keys? A key fob with a button that if I push it will open the back fucking car. My brain's not working. I told you my brain's not working, folks. So I've got one arm already there, my leg, my head is halfway over. So I do that thing where you get resignation. You're just like, what the fuck, seriously? And I grab the key fob and I pop it and it pops all of the locks and then it pops the back of the fucking Murano. and I see the latch, because then I see the latch, and I pop the latch, and it opens. Like that weird noise that... And, and I look up, and of course there's the Duke of New York, and he kidnaps me, and Romero brings my finger to Lee Van Cleef. And so I just sit there, and I'm like, motherfucker, you gotta be kidding. Because now I made a huge mess of my back seat. There's Propel all over the goddamn place. Adrenaline pumping, but still I'm kind of in a fog. So I get out, and I'm like, you dumb fuck. And I close the Murano, and I look around, and luckily nobody's there to see me. No cameras. So I go around to the front, and I'm like, all right. So I don't even know why. I could have just gone into the office at that point, but instead I go, I for some reason I wasn't going to let my car beat me, I decided. So I go, fuck this. I'm getting in the car, and I'm going to sleep. I'm making this fucking happen. I'm going to rest in my car. So I get in the front seat, and I go to start the car, and I put the I don't have to put the keys in because it's a keyless start, and I start the car, but only the battery, not the actual motor. And I do it so I can put my seat all the way back. I have an electronic driver's seat, so I figure if I lay it flat, nobody will be able to see me if they just drive in. It's fun. You know who I am? I feel like Winston Wolfe from Pulp Fiction at that point. I'm like, all right, we need to put a bunch of blankets all over this car. Because at first glance, it'll appear like there's nothing wrong and the subterfuge will be intact. But if some fucking pig starts putting his snout in here, then it's going to be a problem. So that's how I feel. I feel if I put the seat all the way back, my subterfuge will remain intact at a glance. But if someone comes over and just puts their snout in the car, they're going to see me flat-backed and laying there sleeping in the car. And then there will be a problem. And then, of course, someone's going to get shot and dumped in Monster Joe's truck. Smashing Emporium. And then I'm going to have to take fucking Julia Sweeney to breakfast. And certainly, I will ask you if you want to go to breakfast. I will ask you, Jules, and I will ask you, Vincent, if you want to go to breakfast. But it turns out one of you lives in Redondo and one of you lives in Inglewood. Move out of the sticks, gentlemen. I'm going to take my lady to breakfast. You guys figure out what you're going to do. Looks like taking a cab. But if you bring that cab, make sure when you go to that diner that you look around and make sure Tim Roth is not there with Amanda Plummer because it will be ugly. All right, so I get in the car, and like I said, I've got it, and I flat back the car, and I lay back, and I put my head down, and I wake up. All right. I don't know how to explain it. I closed my eyes, and then I woke up. Like it was like that fast. Like I couldn't sleep. I was like, I'm too amped up to sleep, obviously. So I get out of the car, and I walk, and I go into the office. And I unlock the office, and I go in, and I look around. I hit the elevator button to make sure nobody had come up. It's still on the first floor, which is fine. And I go into the office, and I sit down, and my computer's on the screensaver, and I grab a Propel out of my cooler, and I sit down. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to punch in. God damn it. I had gone out there, like I said, it was like I had punched in at 3 a.m., and I had gone out there. And I come back in to the lobby, and I go out to punch in, and I look at the time clock. It's 4:54. I've been asleep for almost 2 hours in my car. I had no clue, nothing. And because I closed my eyes and then opened them and walked in. And I'm fucking groggy. I'm like, no way, that doesn't make any fucking. So I punch in, and then I sit down. I'm not leaving till 6. This is the other day because I have 9 stories going now. So so I sit there in the office, and I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe that. I mean, that went by so fast. Like I had no idea. And granted, I'd gotten out there at 3 o'clock and then thundered around in the fucking back. You know what I mean? Flopping around with my Muay Thai gloves and fucking keys and bullshit. I don't know how long that fucking took. Honestly, I didn't even look at the clock. But when I got in the front seat and I lowered it down, and I just fucking crashed. But I was out of it. So out of it, folks, that I stayed in my office and I worked. I finished. I left. I couldn't leave till 6:30 because I was a little late. So at 6:30, I go out to my car. And I go to, I walk around, and all of the windows are open on my car. At some point when when I was asleep or when I wasn't asleep, I decided to open the windows. So remember that thing I talked about, the subterfuge? If anybody, no, now with all the windows open, you could pretty much see me just snoring. You could actually see Z's flying out of the windows and smashing into the flickering fluorescent light above me. So I go to get in the car, and I open the door, and I'm like, fuck, what the hell? And it's like, the Propel's all over the place. It just looks like a fucking mess. And I put my stuff in there. I move the Propel over with a bulldozer, and I go to climb in, and all 4 of my windows, like I said, are open. I'm like, who the fuck opened the windows? I must have done it. And when I get in the car, I realize my car's still on. I turned it on to turn the battery on to lower the seat. I lowered the seat and fell asleep with the car on. And then when I woke up, I was so out of it, I didn't even notice the windows were open and the car was still on. And I went into the building for another hour and a half. The battery was on in the fucking car while I was in the office with the windows down. That's how fucking out of it I was, folks. And then in my head, I just went, holy shit, this car better start. If this car, I'm going to fucking lose my mind. But sure enough, vroom, just started right up. Put all the windows up. Fucking went home and, of course, stayed up till like 2 p.m. because I had caught such a healthy nap. So that happened the other day. I don't, but how did I get down that, how did I start down that path? I don't even fucking know. I was talking about being tired at work and of course all the criminals were going to show up. Oh, and the guy the dude who wanders the halls, drunk. All right, did I finish that?
I don't know.
No, that's true. I don't know if I did either. There was a point to it. Because he always comes in and he does that. He gets drunk, he talks to me or whatever. He says hi, and he just kind of wanders. And literally, sometimes he'll just send the elevator down empty. Like he'll hit it, and then sometimes he'll be in it, and sometimes he won't be. And I told you he gets on different floors, whatever. He's lost. He's as lost as I am. He just doesn't know it yet. He's got plenty of time to find out, and I'm not helping in that regard. I'll tell you that. Because he, like I told you, he comes in and he drops all this knowledge on me and he wants to be in all that stuff. And that's cool. Good for you. I'm glad. I don't want to be the guy who rains on a parade. And so I just nod. I always nod. I'm like, yes, good for you. That's fantastic. So then, last night he came in and, I was in the office and I had my eyes closed. I think I mentioned this and my head leaned against the thing. And, that's what got me. That's how I started to talk about that. Okay. So I've been a little shaken up at work. So I had and I saw him walk in, and it's my fault because I could have just let him get in the elevator and pretend, but I can't let people think that I'm asleep. I don't ever want to be that guy because I just think it's so repulsive. So I opened my eyes when he turned the corner. I saw him and he hit the elevator and I go, hey, and I said his name. And he goes, hey, what's going on? And I said, nothing. And he comes over and he's like, oh man. He goes, just yeah, tough night, Valentine's Day at work. And I said, oh yeah. And he goes, yeah, it was just crazy. And he proceeds to just give me a diatribe about the people that he works with and the people that were there that he had to work for, and he's going on, and it's look, basically he just did my podcast, all right, but he did it for me to my face, and I had to sit there and I couldn't unplug my iPod vagina. I had to listen to it. And generally I just nod. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, well, that's a drag, or oh, that's this, that's that. But he started down the road of, it wasn't just people now that were a problem. It was certain people and certain races of people, and this turned out to be this way, and they do this, and they all do this, and they do it on purpose because I'm a white guy, and then and and he's talking, and that's fine, and I'm listening to it, and I whatever. People feel the way that they feel. And that's part of who I am now is I just don't fucking care. I don't care. I just sit there and just nod and just go, yeah, I'm not going to defend the Persians. You know what I mean? I'm not. This isn't 300. All right. I don't feel that I need to step up. This isn't Sparta. But he's going on and on about this. And, he's telling me incidents where he was treated poorly and why, and that it was specifically because he was a white person and all these different things. And I'm listening again, and I'm nodding. And then he starts talking about family and, this happened with his family. And then he's got, there's a lot of hard luck stuff and things like, and I'm listening and I'm like, yeah, that's terrible. Da, da, da. And then he starts, but he loves his family and he loves this and all that, but it's just so hard. And he just kind of felt like pouring it all out. You know what I mean? And I was listening. That was fine. I listened and listened. And then finally he left a window, and said, kind of, I think he actually said, well, do you know what I'm talking about, or how do you feel about that? And, I have never been more of a 44-year-old man in my life as I was in the next 10 minutes, because I just espoused my worldview about how everything is ruined. And just vomited nihilism all over him. Like I didn't like. It's like, oh yeah, you feel that way. Well, guess how I feel. And I'm going to give it to you from the direction of a guy who's got 15 more years of horribleness than you do in this world. And I didn't lecture and I didn't condescend, but I made it very clear how I feel about the fact that everything is ruined and everything is just getting more and more ruined, and how I've ruined things for myself. And I said, you talk about family. I said, I got 4 brothers. I talked to one of them. I said, my dad died when I was 13. I said, and you know what? Yet you live. You just live. You just move forward. Because he was telling me about, he had a friend who committed suicide, another guy who tried to do this, and 2 friends who did this. And I go, you know what? Fuck them, dude. I go, I don't have any tolerance to hear that. I don't care. I go, is it good? Is it bad? Is it whatever? It's whatever. But that's life. And you move forward. All you do is move forward. You're a shark, dude. That's what you need to be, is a shark. And it was weird. I felt like such a dad. But I was the worst dad in the world because I was just telling him everything's awful. Everything is awful. And that's just, and as he's standing there listening to me, because I don't ever share. I mean, I nod and I go, yeah. And, but I decided, you know what? Fuck this. This is the time. He asked me. So here it comes. And I said, look, I'm 44. I said, and look where I am. I said, you're 26? And he goes, I'm 29. I go, fine, you're 29 and you got your thing. And I said, but I'm telling you, it gets away fast. And I've said this many, many times. And I've said it to you guys, and I've said it in the One Man and stuff. It's just, you gotta keep you want to keep an eye on Jeff? And you want to keep an eye on this. Grab the reins and don't fucking let it get away from you, because otherwise you're sitting under fluorescent lights, scrambling, trying to fucking sleep in your car and get a cat nap at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. I mean, so I said to him, I even said to him, I go flat out, I'm not looking for any sympathy, and I'm not looking for anybody to feel sorry for me, but I looked at him and I go, look where I am. I go, I'm 44 years old and look where I am. I go, because of the choices I've made and the things that I've done. And I go, and I've been there. I go, I was writing for TV and making money. And it's basically, he did his podcast for me, and then I did my sad cast for him. Like, I just hit him with a fucking verbal battle axe of it just gets worse. Like, you know what? I was the anti-Dan Savage. Like, that whole it gets better bullshit, fuck that. You do not want me involved in that program, because there will be kids leaping off bridges from coast to fucking coast. Because I don't think it gets better. I mean, I think it gets. I think it continues. And I'm not sad or mad or upset or pissed. I recognize that all of my choices have led me to this spot, and they've led me to live the life that I live. And hopefully I can make future choices that make things better for me. But you know what? I'm alive, and I'm moving forward, and I'm good at what I do. And that's all I can ask at this point. Eventually someone will notice it, but I have no patience for anyone who's going to sit there and tell me about, oh, woe is me and the Persians and this and this and this. And it's just like, dude, I don't fucking care. I mean, no offense. Look at who you're talking to. If I was a bartender, I guess it'd be a different story. But even at that point, I would probably look at a dude and go, hey, I'm a fucking bartender. You got all these problems, and you know what? You're drinking to forget them. I'm the one pouring the fucking drinks. I can't forget. So, I mean, he was looking for a shoulder, and I gave him a shoulder, but I also gave him a couple fucking elbows and a knee. I mean, I couldn't. And he ran with it, and I guess he kind of understood it. It was interesting because he didn't run away from it. He didn't flinch, but he just nodded and was like, yeah, I guess you're right. And he was talking about, he makes no money, and he tries to make money, and these people stiff him, and all these different things happen. And I was like, really? And I told this story. And I don't know if I've ever told this story on here. I might have told this story. My wedding was fabulous. I loved my wedding. We actually got married on a Friday. It's funny because I do all my one-man shows on Friday, and people are always like, well, you should do them on Saturday. Well, unfortunately, I can't because I work on Saturday. That's the reality of my life. But I've always done things on a Friday. Like, I got married on a Friday because I didn't want to do it on a Saturday. We just went ahead and did it Friday. It was great. And my wife and I paid for our wedding ourselves. Because at that point I was fucking 29 or whatever. And, she was 30, and we were like, well, you can't exactly go to your parents and go, hey, where's my dowry? You know what I mean? It's, like her mom paid for all the flowers and stuff, and my mom paid for the rehearsal, dinner. And then we paid for everything else. And that's just the way it was. Again, I was old and we did it. So then our wedding was fucking fantastic. It was so great that people kept paying the DJ to stay later. So he actually stayed like a couple hours later, and I hung out with my friends. And it's a blur. The wedding is a fucking blur. The only thing I remember is some 9-year-old kid came in and chipped off the cherub penis from the ice sculpture and ate it. Which really put a pall in the room. I won't lie to you. It cast a pall over the entire event. But I mean, I came in at my wedding to Eddie Van Halen. Like I cut together, and this is with cassettes for fuck's sake. I actually cut together like 7 different Eddie Van Halen things that ended in Ode to Joy by Beethoven. I mean, it was like, it was still the best day of my life. It was so much fun and it was so great. And, I just remember the cake, and then I remember we played Eclair baseball. Did I ever tell that story on here? We wound up in the fucking parking lot. Me and my friends, we had Eclairs because my wife had ordered these like Eclairs or cream puffs that she wanted, and everybody got boxes of them. And so by the end of the night, we were all fucking, and my friends had baseball bats, and some of them had been drinking. And then we were outside in the parking lot of the hall that we rented, the hotel, and we were running around like basically, I think we were piggyback riding on each other. We're jumping at everybody's back, and then we got the bats out to play baseball, and we're throwing the eclairs at one another and hitting them with the baseball bats. And then like looking in the distance after the pastry exploded as if we'd hit some monstrous fucking home run. God damn, it was the greatest. It was just the greatest because we didn't get out of there until super late, like 1:30 in the morning because we paid the DJ, and it was amazing. And it was my friends. It was just a great time. So I told this story to him last night because then we went upstairs, my wife and I, and if you're married, you know your wedding day is a blur. Like, my wife's up at 7 a.m. getting her hair done. I'm up with my groomsmen. We went downtown and we got manicures and all that stuff and got shaves. And then we went home, we changed into our tuxes, then we get to the church, and then everything's happening, and then you go to the reception, and then there's a line, and you're not eating. We had to go get pictures. We went out to the Grant Park, I think it was, and we got pictures in Chicago. Maybe not Grant Park, somewhere. I don't know where the fuck we went, but we got pictures taken outdoors, and you're just being shuttled into cars. It must be what it's like to be a celebrity. Like you're in one car, and it takes you one place to do something, and you get put in another car to go someplace else and do something. And then you wind up at in the receiving line. You're shaking hands, and people are handing you envelopes. Then you come in, they stack you up, and then you eat, and then you got a glad hand everybody. You walk around and you dance, and and then the end of the night, it's just like, what the fuck just happened? I don't know, but I got a ring on. This is the weirdest thing ever. So we wound up upstairs, and my wife and I, and it's that thing where you're on the bed, and she's in her wedding dress, and I'm still in like half a tuxedo, and it's time for the treasure bath. You're going to open envelopes and you're going to go fucking crazy because it's on, you get to look at your gifts and it's totally fun and you get to relax and you're together and you're married. And it's your first experience as married people alone. And if you're lucky, you're going to have sex. But honestly, you're so beat to shit from what's been going on all day long. It's like, it's almost like the furthest thing from your mind. You're like trying to relax and get out of the fucking monkey suit and just get ready for the next day because then you got to meet everybody for breakfast. And then you got to do whatever. You got all these different plans. I should tell you this. Another reason why I got married on a Friday, I had a show Saturday night. And Karen's like, well, that's okay. Let's do it on Friday. And I was like, all right. So we get upstairs. It's time for the treasure bath. We dump out the envelopes. We start opening the envelopes. And because this guy was telling me how he got stiffed at, people like, on a $500 tab, they gave him $30 or $10 or whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, I walked out of there with only like $300, whatever the fuck. That's fine. So I said to him, and my answer to that was, people are terrible. And he's like, yeah. And I go, no, I'm serious. People are just terrible. You can't change who people are. All you can do is be you and move forward and not worry about what people do. That's all you can do. So my wife and I sat down and we started opening envelopes. And the first envelope we open is empty. It's got a card. And all right. Second envelope we open has a $5 bill in it. And we continue to open envelopes. Then they're empty, and they're empty, and there's $10, and then there's and then there's $300, and then there's $400, and then there's nothing, and then there's nothing. And as we're opening them, it's starting to be revealed that the zeros have it. They always say the eyes have it, the zeros have it. Like there's so many people who don't give us anything. And we're stacking them up because, you have to stack them and keep them with the envelope so you know who to address your thank you note to. But it turned out that a lot of people had traveled, like from out of state or whatever, and they thought that was their gift to us. That they showed up to eat our food and breathe our air and dance to our music. and shake our hands. And then pay $3 for a card. And as we're opening it, we're stacking it, and we're realizing, we're seeing the reality of the situation is that we're getting hammered. I mean, because again, we paid for it ourselves, and then we were leaving to go to California. There's all these different things, and as it's starting to get open, because again, you haven't slept and you're still hungry, like you barely ate, and you're on fumes anyway, and Karen falls apart, just fucking sobbing, falls apart, crying, and just laying there in her wedding dress, and I can tell you that you're really not getting laid at that point. All those ideas you had of hiking up the wedding dress and then and going to work, it's like all of that is out the fucking window as she lays there and sobs in that dress. And you've got nobody to thank but all of these cousins who fucked you with empty envelopes. So you got fucked. I certainly got fucked on my wedding night. It just wasn't by the person I had in mind. And I still wound up empty as the envelope inside. So I told him that story last night. He's telling me about getting stiffed and all this, and it's terrible. And I said, really? I go, here, listen to this story. I go, and I told him, and he's looking at me like just overwhelmed. And I said, and you know what you did? And he goes, so what did you do? Did you like call them and get mad? Or I go, no. I said, I wrote a thank you note to all of those people, because that's what you do. That's what you do, because that's fucking life. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't bitch and moan. You can't. I could have. I mean, believe me, I'm an idiot. You all know me. I'm an idiot. I wanted to write a note and be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? I hope you got that free chicken in your belly or your free shrimp or whatever the fuck you ate and you enjoyed it. I hope the when you did the Macarena on my goddamn video that you enjoyed every second of it, because I'm going to sit there and watch your deadbeat ass. God damn it." I wanted to write evil fucking notes. I actually wanted to send them all back. Like, I'm not even kidding. With people who give us a $5 bill or a $10 bill, I wanted to mail the thank you note with it in there. Like, I was so ready to fucking just cut off everyone and blast the shit out of them. But you can't do that, man, because people suck. And if you did that, you'd go crazy. You'd go so fucking crazy if you had to deal with all of that. And if you dealt with every asshole on their level, first of all, you'd be dead. You'd be fucking dead. I wouldn't be here telling you this story, because my wedding night would have been the last night as I got a shotgun and went door to door killing fucking everybody in the hotel. And then sliding an empty envelope under the door. Lily wouldn't be here laughing, and she wouldn't be here speaking for the vaginas, because Lily would have hunted this motherfucker down from Downey and said, "Hey, motherfucker, you can't leave a voicemail like that," and put a goddamn 2 bullets in his head. But you can't. Unfortunately, when the internet calls you, you have to just shrug. There's nothing you can do, because you're a normal person, and you just move forward and live your fucking life. So I vomited regret all over this guy last night. And so he's just like listening, and he's like, okay, yeah. And then he tried to spin it with more. Like he decided he was going to play misery poker with me and then come with more stuff. So I was like, all right. And I unleashed more. I was like, trust me, I got 15 more years of misery to tap into than you do, friend. And he's like, oh yeah, I called this guy and I had to delete his number from my phone because we're not friends anymore, and we used to be really good friends, like staying up all night doing coke and like, crying and all that.
That's a good friend.
And that's what I said. He goes, you know how it is when you're like up all night doing coke? I'm like, no, I don't. No, I'm up all night drinking Propellant trying to sleep in the back womb of my car. Don't get me into hard drugs. You don't like me now. I get into hard drugs, it's going to be fucking horrible. Because then I'll deal with people the way they should be dealt with, and that'll be bad. And then the criminals won't have to come to me. I'll be going to them. So we had a regret off, and I won. I clearly won, because finally he's just like, all right, well, but it was a really deep talk for him. Like, he doesn't, he just went, wow, thanks, man. Like he felt touched by it, I guess. As I sat there whittling on my porch and giving the wisdom of awfulness. So bad, just telling him, hey man, it doesn't get any better, it doesn't get any easier. You can go watch Dan Savage and tell you it gets better, but I'm here to tell you it does not. And again, that's probably because I don't have kids and I haven't been able to channel my hopes and dreams into them and trick them into doing the things I want them to do. Force them to live the lives I think they should. I unfortunately have my life to deal with, and I can't even fucking deal with that. I can't take all of my lost hopes and dreams and shove them down the throat of a 4-year-old. That's my fault. Should have planned ahead. Should have realized that everything was going to be so fucking bad and I would be able to have this fucking toy that I could play with later as I got older and it never went away. Holy shit, it was always there. And my lawn would be constantly mowed. Fuck. Why didn't I have a sponge / kid? So then he went upstairs. And I sat in the office. And even then I was waiting for the solitary gunshot. But instead he came back downstairs dressed like Sid Vicious holding a Corona at 3:30 in the morning to get a cab and go eat French toast alone. Yeah. And what was funny is like once I saw that when he came downstairs in his Sid Vicious outfit and he's holding a Corona at 3:30 in the morning waiting for a cab to take him to go eat French toast, in my head I was like, you don't need me to tell you it doesn't get better.
Yeah.
You're living it. You're living the it doesn't get better aspect of it. And it doesn't help that I just killed your youth. Oh man. As you stopped to talk to old man Schmidt in his office. You just stopped in to get, you just wanted to commiserate a little bit, and I went ahead and stabbed your inner child right in the fucking heart. It's a cold world, son. Now get out of the way of my black and white TV. Awful. Oh, Christ. Oh, all right. I did. I just vomited terribleness all over that kid because he tried. Like I said, he had a full house of misery, and I said, hey, straight flush. Take that. Almost a royal flush of misery I dropped on him. Speaking of misery, chocolate car. I have to talk about that, right? All right. So I'm driving here today, and I get in the car, and I told Lily, I said, hey, I'm like 15 minutes away, and I'm driving on this main thoroughfare to catch you all up from what happened in the early part of the show before I got raped. It's been a while since I got raped on a show. I'm glad we were able to catch that up. So the guy in the chocolate car pissed me off, and he turned into John's, and I'm fucking behind him, and I'm stopped. I'm furious. So then he turns in, and I have to drive up to the stoplight. And the way the stoplight works is I told you there's 2 lanes. There's a merge lane and all that. Well, I'm in the regular lane now, not the merge lane, because the merge lane is also the turn lane, and I'm going to be up to the front, so who cares? So the street I have to drive on, you have to pass a high school. And I'm heading to a freeway on-ramp. But in order to do that, I have to pass through where the high school is, and I'm leaving my house at like 3:15, so it means they just get out of school, which sucks because it's like all the parents that are picking up kids, and then there's kids walking in the street. The only good news about it is you get to see the high school girls walking around in their outfits. As old man Schmidt tools around in his Murano and stares from the back of the pod. Hello, young lady. Oh, I hope you enjoy Propel. Who wants a ride to Hollywood? I used to write for television. Hop in. Awful. But I look. I have to admit, I look. I mean, and even today, it's like fucking 55 degrees in Los Angeles, but a lot of inappropriate dressers at North Hollywood High. So I'm driving up this main thoroughfare, and it's stop and go, and it's a lot of that bullshit. And like I said, I'm in the car and just kind of getting settled still. I mean, I dealt with chocolate car, and I've come through the stoplight, and it's stop and go traffic, and then there's the high school people, and there's people walking on the street, and I'm listening to the new Van Halen album. I should tell you that. And I'm listening to it loudly because I have terrible ears, and I love loud music anyway, so I've got it cranked up. And I'm in the driver's seat, and I've got my phone, and I'm making sure that that's squared away, and I put it down, and I look up, and there's a white van in front of me, and I hate being behind a van or a truck because you can't scout the area. You can't see what's going on in front of them. All right, you just know what's going on inside that van, and it's bad for high school kids or any kids, quite frankly. You're going to open it up, and there's going to be a blood stain and a shoe like in the Star Chamber, and Michael Douglas is going to be furious. So I'm behind them, and I'm driving, and there's a white van, and I look up, and all I can see is white van, just fucking Moby Dick right in fucking front of me. And then there's kids walking, and they're crossing in the street, and you got to be careful. You got to stay alert because it's all these kids crossing, and then there's cars. But still, I'm in the car, and I've got my radio cranked up, and I'm getting that squared away, and I'm getting a Propel, and I'm getting squared, a beverage, and I've got a towel, and I've got to grab that. I also have to make sure my cooler is squared away, and I have to get my Bluetooth set up. And it's that thing where you're just in the car right away, and you turn the radio up, and I'm driving, and all of a sudden, as I'm driving, I'm just that thing where I'm in another world, but I'm in the car, and I just hear bang, like the loudest fucking bang. And you know how I know it was the loudest bang? Because I heard it over the Van Halen album that I had cranked all the way up, like up to 8.5. Like, say if you got 10, it's an 8.5, maybe a 9. And you know it's funny because my car goes to 11, and I wasn't all the way up to 11 just yet. But I was up there, man. It's like a 9. Here, all right. You know what? Let me tell you. Here's how loud my car is. This will tell you how loud my car is. Just as a side note, when I came home from Guns N' Roses, I don't know if I mentioned this or not. I was driving home from Guns N' Roses, and I stopped at Ralph's, the grocery store, to get bananas before I headed home. So I pulled in to the grocery store, and I was listening to Sirius XM, and I had the comedy channel on, and I was listening to Bill Hicks. And who, by the way, if you don't know who Bill Hicks is, go buy all of his stuff. He's a genius. Bill Hicks, amazing comedian. So I'm listening to it, and he happened to be on Sirius XM. And at night they will play longer chunks instead of just these like 2-minute, 3-minute bites. They'll actually play like maybe a 15-minute bit. So I'm listening to it, and I have all 4 of his albums. Or I have Relentless and whatever. Arizona Bay. I'm going to name the albums, idiot. But I have his albums. So it was a chunk from the album. So I'm listening, and I pull into Ralph's, and I'm the only guy. It's like fucking, I just came home from Guns N' Roses. It's like 2:30 in the morning because again they got off stage late, and I'm sitting there listening to Bill Hicks, and I'm the only car in the parking lot. And I'm listening, and I'm just waiting because once he's finished with the bit, I'll go in to get the bananas. And as I'm talking, I see in my rearview mirror like a shadow, and I'm like, all right, I got to get frosty because someone's approaching me. And I look, and a guy comes up, and he taps on my window with a flashlight. And I thought it was a cop. And I look at him, and he's dressed like a cop, but I realize he's security. He's the fucking Ralph's security. So the very bananas I'm going to purchase, he's guarding them. I should be thanking him. He's a banana guarder. But he walks out and he taps on my window with a flashlight, cop style, whatever the fuck. And so I turn the radio on and I roll the window down and I go, hey. And he goes, hey, can you turn that down, please? And I go, what? He goes, you need to turn that radio down. I go, are you joking? I'm in a parking lot at a grocery store. Who cares? And he goes, well, you see that apartment complex? Because there's an apartment complex right next door. He goes, they complain about the noise constantly. And it sounds like you have this turned up. I mean, your car sounds like a speaker. Like it is so loud. And the thing is, I didn't realize that, again, because I just love Guns N' Roses, so my ears are fucking ringing anyway. But I got the volume turned all the way up, but all the windows closed. But it doesn't matter. You can hear because I have Bose speakers, and it's like really, and you can hear it all over the parking lot. I had no fucking clue because he came from the inside of the store. He walked all the way to my car and tapped on the window to ask me to turn the radio on. He heard it in the store. So I was like, oh, dude, and so then, of course, stupid me, I just go, oh, man, you know what? I left the Guns N' Roses concert at the Forum, and my ears are ringing, and it's like, he's just like, turn the radio down. I don't care about you or your life. And I was like, fine. So I turned it down. So that's how loud my car is. So that'll give you, so that was with Bill Hicks. You could hear it all over the fucking parking lot. Now I'm driving, I've got Van Halen fucking as is cranked up in my ears, and my car is filled with Van Halen. It's just, and it's oozing out of every pore. And I hear bang, this loud bang, just in time to like look up. And as I look up, it is a field of white. The white van has brake lights. It has stopped. And I'm still going like 25 miles an hour. And I stand on the brakes. Like I just fucking wham. And I hear, again, it's as loud as my radio is. I hear my brakes go like super fucking loud, and the car screeches, and I fishtail, and I'm going to hit the van. I know I'm going to hit the fucking van, and I'm like, oh Christ. And I just brace myself, and I get as close to the van as I humanly possible. And my car stops, and then like I literally tick the back of the van. Like I somehow skidded like fucking 30 feet. And all the high school kids, I saw them watching me as I watched the van, and then I turn around and there's John Candy dressed like a devil, and then I turn around and I looked out the windshield and it was nothing but a huge white field of rape van right in front of me, and I'm standing both feet on the brakes, and I'm still sliding forward, and the brakes are giving, like it's like that kunk, 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 like where that thing is chunking and screeching, and I finally get literally right up to the van, and then my car stops, and like I tick the van. And I'm like, I'm white knuckling the fucking steering wheel. There's smoke all over, coming out from the bottom of my fucking car, from the wheels and everything. And just in time, I look in my rearview mirror to see the smoke clear, to see another van heading for my fucking rear. Like, he's going to hit the pod. He's going to smash into the pod bay door. Hell, what the fuck? And I'm never going to be able to get any sleep in there again. You thought I couldn't open it before? When he fucking ass ends me, he's going to smash the shit out of it, and I'll never be able to open it. And I see him bearing down on me, and I've had this before where I've seen a car coming down, and I knew you go limp and hope you don't die. That's it. So he's standing, and I hear his brakes now screeching, and everybody's looking, and he comes, and he's all of a sudden flooded my entire rearview mirror in the back window, and I can see him, and then he ticks me, and I kind of just jostle a little bit forward. And I'm sitting, I'm just so happy. And I can imagine it happening behind all of them infinitely for cars upon cars. And the guy in the white van is already out of the car to come and look at me. And then I put the car in park, and I get out of the car, and there's a guy, a high school kid, is laughing like on the side of the road. And I first roll the window down, and I go, is there an accident? He goes, oh yeah. So the guy in the white van gets out of the car, and he looks at me, and he comes and looks at the back of the thing, and he goes, are you okay? And I go, are you okay? And he goes, yeah, you didn't really hit me. I just felt a nudge. And I go, this guy hit me. So I was immediately hanging it on that guy like he had nudged me into him just in case this guy was a litigious cocksucker in the white van. I mean, I didn't feel like paying. So I was like, oh yeah, he bumped me and I bumped you. That's what happened, of course. Ask all of these laughing high school children out here as the smoke clears. Nobody can fucking see anything anyway. So then that guy in the van behind me gets out, and he's like, are you all right? I go, yeah, you bumped me, and then I bumped the guy in front of me. So you guys, if you want to talk about anything like insurance, go ahead. And they're like, nah, I'm okay. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay? We're all okay. Everything's fine. And so I'm talking to these van owners, and everybody's out and about, and it's like, now it looks like the road or something. Like everybody's getting out of their cars like it's the happening, and we're talking and chatting, and we're not realizing there's a real accident, like a few up, and the van goes, oh yeah. He goes, we're lucky. And I'm like, yeah. And I peek around, and there's like a 3-car pileup, like an SUV and a Volkswagen, like a Bug, and then a pickup truck. You know what it looked like? It looked like a child had tipped over his toy box. Like it should have been just like a Lego mobile and a fire engine and a spaceship. Like it was like that. That diverse amount of vehicles, like a big F-150 and an SUV, and then the Volkswagen Bug. And the Bug is fucked. I mean, luckily he was in front, because apparently he I don't know, he must have hit his brakes, because then the truck hit him, and then the SUV hit the truck. All I know is that's the angle. And I didn't see anything, so I just want to get the fuck out of there. I'm late for a podcast. So I'm like, all right, guys, you're good. Van's good. That van's good. I hope all of the children that you have prisoners in your vans are fine. But I can't be bothered to stick around and check up on them. I have to go record a story about this very incident. I now have an open to my show this week. Thank God. Something to talk about. And it would have opened the show if it wasn't for the Lilacs. So I go and I climb into my car, and I'm trying to get around now, because now already people are calling, and they're all outside, and they're looking, and everybody's rubbernecking and gawking, all the high school kids, and the vans are talking about van stuff, and they're swapping shop about where to trap children. And then I go ahead and I back up, and I go around them, and I have to go slowly past the accident. So now I'm like little Oliver Stone in The Doors. You know what I mean? Like little baby Jim Morrison who saw the Indian shaman, and he saw the accident on the side of the road. So I got to go slide past that, and I hear Riders on the Storm in my head. And as I'm pulling up, I see the, they're starting to like disassemble. So there's the Volkswagen. It's askew, and it's smashed, man. It's fucked up. And the pickup truck, it's lucky it doesn't have the Volkswagen crumbled up under its fucking fender. And then I see the SUV, and in the SUV, there's a guy in the driver's seat, and he's sitting there talking. And in the back seat, there's a guy who's like draped over the front seat. Like he was in the back seat, but now he's draped over the front seat. And I don't know if he's hurt or I can't figure it out. But when I see him, he's draped over and hanging into the front seat as they're trying to talk to the driver. And I see him, and in my head, I just think to myself, I've been there, buddy. The only thing missing is the Muay Thai wraps around your neck as you jerked yourself off watching the high school girls walk along in their skimpy outfits through your tinted windows. You guys can get me at MikeandMikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40yearoldboy. You can follow me on Twitter at Twitter.com/the40yearoldboy. You can follow our friend Lily Von Stupp at Twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp or Twitter.com/MNTs. And if you want to write her a personal note and tell her that she needs to stay open later, and tell her that people want to party still, You can write her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Zazzle.com/40-year-old boy. Smile his sky.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. 10 o'clock p.m. is the time for that show, folks. And I happen to be very close with the producer of that show, the Lilacs, Lily Von Stupp. That's her right here in the room with me now. Hey, Lily.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, I'm great.
Fantastic. Now, do you have any more? Do you have a follow-up, perhaps, on some beverages that I can and can't use with the vagina? Do you have any? You've had a while to think about it now. Perhaps I missed one when I mentioned them, or?
Yeasty beer is not a good thing.
Yeasty beer's out.
Yeah, yeasty beer, not a good
What about Robitussin? Could I fill a vagina with Robitussin and just go to work?
Here's the thing. You have this misconception that I meant like just turn it over and pour it in.
That's what you did.
No, that's not really what I meant.
I tend to disagree.
No.
You made it very, very, very evident that it was to fill a vagina with champagne was bad.
Not what I said at all.
All right. Well, that's what you think you said, but I know I heard you. You may have think you said a different thing.
Not what I said.
That's fine.
I
So
said there's a lot of things you don't want being poured down there.
No,
I
you-
didn't say in there.
you were talking about beverages. You were clearly discussing liquids that should and should not go into a vagina, and you said into. You didn't say on the surface.
I think I said that's things you don't want in there because it causes problems when it goes in.
I don't know.
I
know.
don't think I said poured into.
I know what I
I'm
heard.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
All right.
I know what I said. I cannot be responsible for what you heard.
Doubtful. So the Monday Night Teas is still a thing, right? That's
Yes,
happening.
It's fabulous.
That's good. And this past week was the Mel Brooks show, which is a huge hit.
Sold out.
And I understand people took a vote, and you were the best act.
It was the funniest thing ever.
Lily said that 2 people stopped her and said, "Hey, you have a great rack." It was a man and a woman, and Lily's like, "Thanks." And they said, "We took a vote. You're the best."
I just,
And I said to Lily, the good thing about that is that vote had to be unanimous. Otherwise, it's a deadlock. They're deadlocked at 1. Nope.
most ridiculous comment I think I've ever gotten. We took a vote.
Yeah. Well, I thought they were gonna grab your boobs, which has happened and often happens.
It happens periodically and faces get slapped.
Yeah, well, I mean, but they're just so out there, man. People are like, "Oh man, she's free with them. She showed them to me. Why can't I touch them? Because I'm a human being. That's why."
That's why.
Idiot. So the Mel Brooks show was a huge success. Standing ovations and standing room only, and a lot of people. Sounds good. Except for the woman who vomited in 5 cups.
That was not pleasant.
No, 5 cups, 5 pint glasses full of vomit you had to deal with.
Birthday girls should not drink a lot.
They should not. And by the way, there's another liquid that does not go well into a vagina. Saith the Lilacs. So coming up this week, there's a Monday Night Teas, yes?
Yes.
Fantastic. Are you dancing in said teas? You hosting? Are you involved?
I don't know for sure yet.
Oh, okay. It's up in the air. Is it a theme show?
Doc and Stumpy find love.
Oh, Doc and Stumpy Fine Love. You enjoy Doc and Stumpy, right? They're on quite a bit.
They're once a month.
And they're huge favorites.
Yeah.
That's good. And they have a following of their own right
They
now.
do. Yeah.
That's cool. So that's cool. That's this Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine, 10 o'clock p.m. Doc and Stumpy find love. And if you show up and you find Lily's ass with your hand, you will get in free.
slapped.
No, you will get in free. And it's happened in the past. People will grab her ass and she's like, "Please step right." It's like a code word. It's like a special handshake. It's like a password. It's like in a speakeasy in the old days, and they would slide that little thing on the oak door, and you would reach through and grab somebody's ass, and boom, you're in. You're drinking. You're playing dice. That's how it works over at the Monday Night Teas, folks. Please remember to go to Facebook and be my friend at facebook.com/the40year-old boy. There's also a Monday Night Teas page on Facebook you can like. So go like that page and find out all the information you can.
You have to join.
Oh, it's a group, and you have to approve those people. So go try to join the group on the Monday Night Teas, and perhaps Lily will allow you to do such a thing.
will.
Yeah, and also you can go to MondayNightTeas.com and get all the information about this show and upcoming shows that are coming up, or you can just tune in here every week, and I will tell you one at a time. Because God knows you like to get it in dribs and drabs. Why not? So if you go to Facebook.com/the40year-old boy, you can be my friend, and you can go ahead and sign up on all the pages there. Where people want to bring me to their towns, like Kansas City is still involved, Indianapolis, Detroit, bring Mike Schmidt to Toronto, bring Mike Schmidt to London is still a thing. I don't know. I mean, I really want to go, and a woman I told you gave me a spreadsheet with a bunch of information. It was awesome, and I would love to do it. I just need to, I'm freaked out. I'm freaked out about it. I'm weird. I'm very weirded out about it. I had a horrible dream last night. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. All right. Well, let's do that. Because we were just figuring out. She's like, "What are you going to say when you leave?" And I said, "Well, I'll talk about something. I'll talk about my horrible dream." So maybe I won't. Forget it. I'm not going to talk about my horrible dream. Now I want to talk about like other dreams, but I'm not going to. I can't. I won't. All right, I'm out. Stop that. No more dreams. I don't know if I told, as I told 29-year-old guy, no more dreams. They're gone. So go ahead and join these pages if you want to bring me to your town. That'd be great. Detroit, like I said, Kansas City, all these different pages. There's a Buffalo, New York page now, New Orleans. These all exist. Go ahead and sign up and let me know that there's momentum for me to come to town, and then I can book a theater and come to your town, and we'll enjoy ourselves. That'll be fine. Remember, you go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com and go to the Joe Business page. Go to the Zazzle link and click on that and get mugs and mouse pads for yourself. If you want to click on the tweakedaudio.com/40 link, you can get autoerotic asphyxiation earbuds for yourself or cock ring watches. Those are also available there at tweakedaudio.com/40. And somebody in Australia just bought like 3 pairs. I think he was in Australia. Yeah, thank you, wow. Australian guy who bought 3 pairs. And thank everybody who goes to Tweaked and buys things. It's weird. They've been sponsoring us since late 2010. Like, I didn't even think about that because I was going through, I have to do tax paperwork, and I found out there are a bunch of receipts from 2010. So they've been with us for a long time. So thanks to Bruce and everybody there, Peggy, everyone who sends me emails, all the robots who work there at tweakedaudio.com/40. Thank you for your support. We appreciate it very much. And support them. Like I said, click the link at Joe Business on MikeSchmidtComedy.com. Again, I've been told my site is tough to navigate. That guy wrote me back. Because he said something and I said, I'll try to navigate that. Like I was a cock. Like he wrote me something and I said, well, I look forward to navigating your email. I'm an idiot. So also you can click on the link there to buy the download sets that are available. Year 1, Year 2, and Year 3 download sets are available for the 40-Year-Old Boy podcast, or you can get them all together in the Lord of the Schmidt set. Those are available right now. Price break if you get the Lord of the Schmidt set. And also up in the upper left-hand corner on every page of MikeSchmidtComedy.com, there's a little donate link there with it's a little Schmitty with his pocket out. Click on that and donate to the show. You can donate a one-time donation, which I will appreciate, or you can subscribe to the show for $2 a month, $5 a month, or $10 a month. And those people are also to be thanked, I suppose. People like our good friend, Anthony Parker. I think Anthony Parker's from Australia as well. He did not buy earbuds this time, I don't think, although it might have been somebody else. But Anthony Parker wrote me, and I feel bad, Anthony. He wrote me and said, "Hey, man, I'm in Australia, and because you've publicly stated you will never come to Australia," which made me laugh, because I publicly state a lot of things, Anthony, and I never do them. So don't hold me to my public statements, please. But Anthony, because you've publicly stated that you will never come to Australia, can I get an audio copy of your one-man show because you said you taped the first couple? And the answer to that, Anthony, is no, because once it's good, I will put it out there to be consumed by the public. But as is now, unfortunately, people have to buy tickets and come and check out the show. I have to trick people to come and see it. When I feel it's good enough, I'll start offering it for money. But as is now, I just do it live and it sucks. Idiot. And I try to trick people into coming. So he wanted one of the first ones from San Francisco, which is where we first started. And those are not for public consumption. They're barely for my consumption. I listen to them. I'm like, hey. So it's only getting better the more I do it. The key is I have to do it more and more. And then once it is polished and ready, then I will offer it. And then you in Australia can get it. And perhaps by that time, I'll even be in Australia. Who knows? Who knows how my life works? Anthony Parker. But thank you for donating to the show and subscribing. I appreciate that. Anthony Parker and our friend Joshua Spiegel. Thank you, Joshua. And our good friend, Sean Paul A. English. And that sounds like a lot of names. That's a lot of surnames there. I don't know if it's Sean Paul, like Puffy Combs. You know what I mean? Like Sean Combs, Sean Puffy Paul, Sean Paul A. English Puffy Combs. I have no idea. But why would you have an initial too? Sean Paul. Or maybe he was filling it out and he's like, he's English. He's like, I'm Sean Paul, English. Because that's Cockney. I'm English. Governor. So Sean Paul A. English. God, I'm fucking stupid. I am so stupid. Why? Why would I do that? This young man contributes to the show nicely, donates every month, and I go ahead and I play ping pong with his fucking name. And I refer to him as a retarded Cockney person. That's not nice. Anthony Parker's from Australia. Did I go, whoa, that's a knife, Anthony Parker? Did I do that? No, that might not even be Australian. I don't know what that voice was. Joshua Spiegel. Did I mention catalogs at all? No, I did not. Why do they get a free pass? And yet Sean Paul A. English has to get pigeonholed as some sort of Cockney guy out of Snatch. I'll fight you for it. That's who he is. He's a gypsy. He's like Brad Pitt. Subscribe to the show. Fight you for it. All right.
It is horrible.
So what? You're so wrong.
Horrible with accents.
He's fucking amazing as the gypsy in Snatch. Don't make me come past this microphone and hurt you. I will hurt you.
Really?
Yes. I will get champagne and I will hurt you.
And then in Inglourious Bastards, second worst accent.
God, you are so wrong. Brad Pitt is, you can do no wrong. Brad Pitt is awesome. Haven't you seen his hair? Holy shit, Brad Pitt's the best. Remember earlier I said I want to wake up with a stranger inside me? That stranger better be Brad Pitt. I will not have a problem with it at that point. Brad can put every inch of himself that he wants to inside of me. I don't give a fuck. Do it. Fingers, thumb, anything he wants. Foot, break it off inside me, Brad. Let's do this. God damn it, I'm on board. I would blow Brad Pitt just because his cock's been in Angelina Jolie. That's why. Trust me, he's beautiful enough to have earned it on his own.
Oh my god.
But you add her in as an X variable, boom.
Oh my god, that hurts.
I will show my work and solve for X all over his cock. Let's thank our friend Charles Campaign, who donated to the show. Charles Campaign. That's I think it's Campaign. That's what I'm guessing. We'll see if that's what it is. So, and also our friend Christopher Federowitz, who subscribed to. You okay there? Oh, sorry. Hurts like champagne. Burns like champagne.
Laughing cramp.
Yay! That's what this show's all about. So Anthony Parker from Australia, Joshua Spiegel from somewhere, Sean Paul A. English, Sean Paul A. English, Charles Campaign, and Christopher Federowitz. You guys subscribe to the show every month, and I do appreciate that very much. Thank you so much. And again, if you want to subscribe or donate, go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com in the upper left-hand corner and do all of those things. Remember that last week I was on the episode of The Life and Times of Tim that was featured on HBO. It's funny. I will tell you this about that. I watched it, and it's so weird to hear my voice with the character they put it with, which was so strange. But also, there's 2 lines. I got 2 lines in the show. I talked for half an hour. The only good thing is that I ad-libbed that line. They had a script, and they were like, follow the script and then do one for you and then do one for us and repeat that. And they were very good. I couldn't believe how great they were about letting me kind of vamp around. And I was in my own head about it, but they were cool with it. And they were like, do this again and hit this better. And then they coached me very well. And I added, lesbians and sweatband fetishists. That was mine. And they laughed. They actually laughed at that. So I was glad that they kept it in. So that episode is actually on a few more times this week if you've got HBO, or it's not too late for you to buy HBO and grab it and watch it. It was the segment called Pray for the Jets. And even if you're not, even if you don't see my show, you should be watching The Life and Times of Tim because it's fucking hysterical. So that was fun. And so to check that out, that's playing on HBO the rest of the week. And also I did the Paul Goebel podcast last week, the King of TV podcast with Jim Bruce, Tom Griffin, and our friend Paul Goebel, who's the host. And you should listen to it only to hear me put them in their place. I actually win a point. They come at me with some crazy argument, and then I fucking do some verbal judo on them, and I win. I actually win. It's crazy. They'll deny it, of course, but they actually, at one point, Jim Bruce finally goes, you know what? You're right. Like, he actually has to own up to it. He goes, yeah, you know what? You've convinced me. Ha ha. So take that. Those weren't the fucking droids you were looking for. I completely verbal jujitsu'd the fuck out of those 2. But that might be true. That might be pushing it a little bit. But listen to the show. It's a funny show. Our friend, the King of TV, Paul Goebel, has his podcast, and I was on, and I was lucky that they had me on. Thank you so much. Remember that I mentioned those places at Facebook that are wanting me to come to town? Well, there are already places that have me coming to town. I should tell you about my live dates that I have coming up. First of all, this Friday, February 17th, 8 o'clock p.m. at the Dark Room Theater in San Francisco. I will be there killing it. That's tomorrow because you're hearing this on Thursday. So that's tomorrow. You only have the rest of Thursday to buy tickets. There will be walk-up sales available probably, but I'd prefer to avoid that. I'd prefer you got your tickets ahead of time because it keeps me from having to chase people down for money. That's actually a lie. They're very nice there. What are they going to do? Hide the money on me? Of course not. So if you want to get walk-up tickets, I guess you can do that. But I prefer if you bought the tickets from brownpapertickets.com. The Darkroom Theater in San Francisco. The show's at 8 o'clock this Friday, February 17th. Looking forward to it. Already sold a bunch of tickets so far. I actually get to town tomorrow, which is Thursday. By the time you hear this, I might actually be in town. And then there are people who wanted to see me and hang out. And why are you making bug eyes at me? That's so funny. Yeah, I'll be there as you hear this, tooling around town in my rental car. I was going to drive. I made a mistake. Don't ask. I'll probably talk about it on the air tomorrow. All right. On the air tomorrow? On the show. I'll talk about it on the show next week, but I'll probably mention it live Friday. So come on out to the Darkroom Theater if you want to hear that amazing anecdote. Oh, my God. Holy shit. These people are like, oh, I can't wait to get there and hear about your car. It's terrible. 8 o'clock at the Darkroom Theater this Friday. And I have other shows available at Brown Paper Tickets. March 2nd in Atlanta at the Fabrifaction Theater. Those tickets are available right now at brownpapertickets.com. Also, April 27th in Cleveland at Big Dog Theater. And that's a big place. Let's buy some tickets so there's not an echo. And I've told these out of order. I should have told this one before, Cleveland. Told this? It's not a story. It's a place. March 23rd, I will be in Washington, D.C., I will be at the DC Art Center, and I've been told by the guy who's doing my tech that I should say it's the Adams Morgan neighborhood. He's like, when plugging the venue, you should always say the DC Art Center is in Adams Morgan because locals will then have name recognition and they know that. But what the joke's on him because no locals are coming to this fucking show. Everybody's coming in from Virginia and bullshit like that. So there's no people from DC who are actually coming. But still, if you are from there, now you recognize the fact that the DC Art Center is in the Adams Morgan neighborhood, which I've heard is a big deal. You don't believe me? Come in on your train from Virginia and ask a local. Just look them right in the face. Go, hey, where's Adams Morgan? Ooh, are you going to a show there? I understand it's a wonderful night spot. So that's March 23rd. What a cock! This guy's helping me. He's doing the tech. He's doing the walkthrough for me. He's my eyes. He's my eyes and ears on the ground in Adams Morgan. So by all means, piss him off. So that's March 23rd at the DC Art Center in the Adams Morgan neighborhood in Washington, D.C. And then June 1st at the Cambridge YMCA Theater in Cambridge, Boston, Massachusetts. And I will tell you this, people, I'm coming to town and our friend Andrew Bennett has me in, let me say this real fast. I contacted everybody from Kickstarter. Okay, so I send out emails telling you to specify exactly what you want with your address, your shipping address, your phone number, anybody, according to whatever you donated. And if you need a t-shirt, you have to tell me. Now, the Atlanta shirts are sent. They've already been ordered. So I will tell you that if you wanted an Atlanta shirt, I contacted you 3 times and you didn't get back to me. So you can, I guess, tell me after the fact and maybe I can order them later. Maybe I'll figure something out. Or you're going to get a Boston shirt, a Washington, D.C. shirt, or a Cleveland shirt. That's up to you. So the Atlanta shirts have already been ordered. But if you got a Kickstarter email from me, please contact me back and give me an address or a phone number because I don't want to have to be chasing you down all the time and saying stuff. How did I get into this? There was something I was going to say. Boston, June 1st. Oh, the people who have me in certain cities, our friend Francis, my friend Ed has me in one city. Andrew has me in a city. Joel has me in Washington, D.C. And, you want to go out. So I'm actually coming into town on Wednesdays to make that easier. So I will be in town on Wednesday night, Thursday, do the show Friday, and leave Saturday. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because in Boston, Thursday or Wednesday, I'm going to Fenway. So I don't know if anybody out there is a Red Sox ticket holder. I don't know if anybody out there wants to organize something where if more than a few of us go to a game, but they are playing the Tigers on Wednesday, May 30th and Thursday, May 31st. So one of those nights, I'm going to Fenway to see a baseball game. And if you guys want in, let's organize an outing. Let's do it because I would love to go. And I'm going by myself or you guys can tag along. And I know what the reason I bring it up, I know what a tough ticket it is to get Red Sox tickets in Fenway. So I'm telling you, if you've got an in or a connection or if you've got season tickets or anything, we can do that. And again, look, I shouldn't be opening this up because if 10 of you then all of a sudden say you want to go, but you all want to go separate, nobody wants to go together and we can't get 10 together, I don't fucking know. All right, we'll figure it out. But either Wednesday or Thursday, I want to go to a Red Sox game. Keep that in mind. I don't know why I'm telling you that, but I am. So there you go. So that's June 1st in Boston and March 23rd in Washington, D.C., March 2nd in Atlanta at the Fabrifaction Theater, and April 27th in Cleveland at Big Dog Theater. All of the tickets are available at brownpapertickets.com right now. Head over there now as you're buying your tickets for San Francisco. That'll be fantastic. Let's talk about Atlanta real quick because, again, March 2nd, I'm going to be at the Fabrifaction Theater, and let's buy some tickets to that. That would be good because it would make me feel that I wasn't coming to town to be hated by a few of Southerners. I'd rather be hated by more than a few. Some of you are coming, and that's great. And there was really strong support on the Atlanta page. And there were some people who were really gung-ho, but there was one guy he couldn't wait. And he's actually going to be in L.A., and he wants to go to dinner with me before that. And then he's talking about going to Atlanta, the show. So he sends me an email, and he says, hey, I'm still going to be in LA on the 27th. I want to see if we can still hook up. That'll be fun. And oh man, I wish I could come to the show in Atlanta, but it looks like it's not going to work. I'm not going to be able to make the scene. I'm going to be out of town working. But here's the good news. I just bought 10 tickets to share with clients and coworkers, and I'm going to give them so they can come to your show.
Oh, bad.
Dude, you listen to the show. Don't you remember what happened in Milwaukee? Don't you remember what happened in Milwaukee? And in Milwaukee, my high school friend came and she brought all of her friends who have no fucking idea who I am. And she at least had a tenuous connection to me through high school. Clients and customers and coworkers? Are you fucking joking, dude? Because you won't even be there to tell them how great I am. It's going to be 10 people who think they're going to a stand-up show, and they're going to walk in and see me talking about punching somebody in the face. And then they're going to be like, where's Joe? Who bought these tickets? Is he out of town on purpose because he didn't want to be here and see this unfold? You can't expose strangers to me just yet. Unless, you know what you do? Because you're obviously a big shot who's buying tickets for everybody. Go buy an iPod for everyone. Joe, go buy an iPod for everyone and then go to tweakedaudio.com/40 and buy everybody some autoerotic asphyxiation earbuds so they can listen to me and find out what they're fucking getting into. You can't just unleash 10 people on me who have no idea. Check that. You can't just unleash me on 10 people who have no idea what the fuck I do, because they're going to sit there. And again, because ticket sales are, let's say, slow. So that right now, we're looking at a third of the room is these people who have no idea who the fuck I am. And so we're going to be outnumbered. Eventually, right now I have 2/3 of the room, but if we get some more walk-up and some more strangers in there, it's going to be very, very bad. And look, I recognize that I'm leading this insulated life where I'm trying to keep myself from the general public, and that's foolish. That's antithetical to succeeding. But right now I'm playing to my fan base to get confidence that I can make the general public like me at some point. The general public at this point has no idea who I am, and I don't want to fucking deal with them, okay? That's why I book theaters myself and only promote it through here, because you should know this. You fucking contacted the theater, Joe, and you said, hey, how much for Mike Schmidt tickets? And they're like, we have no idea who Mike Schmidt is or what you're talking about. So then you wrote me, you're like, dude, is this the theater you're playing in? Yes, because when I book a theater, part of the deal is they're like, we don't want to promote you to anybody we know, and I'm like, that's fine with me. I will sell tickets to the people I know and like. Because I don't want your unwashed masses to think they're walking into fucking Cyrano to fucking step in there and see me emoting on stage. I don't want some asshole who came over and once saw Rent at your theater to fucking stumble in and see me babbling all over myself. Jesus Christ, just because some people like the Fantastics in your theater, you don't want to market to them with my fucking show. So it's an agreement I have. People are like, hey, look, if we don't sell your tickets, we don't promote you. Good. I don't want you fucking promoting me. So, Joe, you saw that. You contacted the theater themselves, and they disavowed any knowledge of my existence. That should let you know how the general public feels about me, and yet you're going to unleash these people on me. Well, check that. You're going to unleash me on these people? I guess maybe you want these coworkers to quit and these customers to drop your business. So you'll have more time to travel and visit me in Los Angeles. Because you certainly won't be tethered to a desk job any longer, because you will have been fired, Joe. Fired for losing clients and coworkers by unleashing me. You unleashed hell.
I am just stupid enough to think that when people listen to me and they listen to the show, they should take my honesty and go, oh, wow, how refreshing his unvarnished honesty is. And the fact that he's willing to have a scorched earth policy and have no friends or no fucking future is so refreshing and great. But then they'll say to me, hey, do you need somebody raped with a snake? I go, yes, I do. Done. They'll take care of it for me. Thanks, Snake Rape. Oh, no one listens to show, bro? Wonder why? Wonder why no one listens to show, bro? I don't want to listen to show, bro. Please. Snake Rape, do it, do it, do it, do it.